After an incredibly successful US campaign, we are back at it again. TNO, Japan. Don't think I've ever played them, so I'm pretty much just gonna explore it. This might not be the optimal path, but maybe one day in the future we'll play the most min-maxy Japan that we can and expand the Kyoeiken Pact to its fullest extent. Kind of what I want to do with the OFN. Either way, let's just jump into it. Get a report of the Empire. And also, apparently, I've didn't realize, but a lot of people hate TNO, citing the fact that it lost its unhingedness and tried to be as realistic as possible. And I kind of get that, but I'm still enjoying TNO, and I probably will be playing this unless they really fuck it up sometime in the future. But I guess really people really want that landmass back in for Italy in here, the closing off of the Mediterranean. At least the big old lake is here still, right? And more schizopaths in general, which I fully understand, to be honest. But I also do enjoy the base game TNO, and I feel like it's a problem that could be solved fairly easily. Well, fairly easily. It's no oversimplification. But isn't that basically what happened with Kaiserreich? People didn't like the overly realistic route that they wanted to go with, so they made Kaiser Redux. Why can't people make TNO Redux? Well, obviously the massive amount of time and effort you'd have to put into it. It could be good, no? I would love to play a TNO Redux with like the most unhinged paths, bring Goering back, give some kind of weird schizo Ottoman path to Turkey or something. And I'd love to see even more ridiculousness in the TNO universe. But for that, we're not here for that today. Maybe one day in the future that'll exist. For now, we're here doing politics in Japan. I don't know what this means. We're currently conservative. We're fairly stable. We'll see how that goes. I'll learn how to do the political tree one day. The Eye of the Storm. That was the only way Prime Minister Ino Hiroya could describe it. In the North Pacific, two massive fleets were bearing down upon each other. Across Japan, from the smallest village to the Imperial Palace, the people were outraged. Yet here, in the offices of the Foreign Ministry, everything was silent and still. On the other side of the table, Foreign Minister Fujiyama Aishiro was on the phone, listening to a report on the first mediation proposal. Ever since the Americans forced Captain Assault to ground in Alaskan waters, Japan has been in the grips of a jingoistic fervor unlike anything since 1941. The Army, Navy, and Privy Council were all pulling Ino into different directions. It felt like half the country was telling him how to do his job. At last, Fujiyama set the phone down. The Mexican president has taken our side, demanding the release of our pilot and an investigation into all violations of the demilitarized zone. Nixon was less than pleased, but Mateos held firm. Let's see if we can spin it to our advantage, huh? I think we had a stalemate as US. Maybe we can get something out of him in here instead. Big strategic bombers and interceptors as well. Are we making any helicopters? We should be. Yeah, we are making some improved transports, but that's not really what I want. Do we not have any attack helicopters? Yeah. We need a lot of airplanes, really. Are we making any artillery as well? I don't really see that. For not, I do want some artillery. Although we might make artillery. IFEs, MPTs. Ah, there's the artillery. I just didn't see it. My bad. Things are heating up, but we have one last shot at peace. We can now send aid to the military government in Shonan Marai, which is the Malayan one. Okay. How many units can we send into Malaya? Currently 2. I would have preferred to send 2 helicopter divisions, but I guess 1 helicopter division and a regular infantry will have to do. And 2 air wings. That's not bad either. Have all of my helicopters come back. This is the only thing. Improved jet fighters. Oh, we actually need 2. Let's see if I can gather everything up, because our air force is atrocious. This and this we'll send down here for air superiority. Good. Maybe let's slow down as well. Another door opens. The U.S. maneuvering in the Pacific, Nixon and State Department untrustworthy, arms flooding to insurgents via Indian Ocean route. But now it seems the game has started again. Underneath the placidity of a military bureaucrat grew the quiet excitement of a field agent, spy demanding action once more. If Tokyo needed a fire lit on the Ganges, he would see that it would dwarf even the Himalayas. And here we are demanding the release for Captain Asso. 3 hours of it was absent. The investigation into treaty violations, Nixon's DMZ violations, 2 solemn nods, and Mateos was dismissed. It was Fujiyama that spoke first. To let such injustice pass is a gift only to warmongers and villains. But after Kiska, we will brief the cabinet. We will inform the Emperor there was no other way. But the Americans will come to rue the day they opened this box. Oh, what's this? Happy New Year, Hayato. Are you alright? Quite so. Prime Minister Ino Hiroya opened the first session of the Diet of the year, declaring that this year would be a year of continued prosperity for the Japanese people and that the Pan-Asianist ideology has gone 1 year closer to its realization. Hayato just sighed. Here we go again. Welcome to Japan's House of Cards. As with any House of Cards, the Diet's rocky balance is dependent on alliances, deals, and tribulations that all have a date of expiration. Every year from now, the House of Cards will be rebalanced to reflect such occurrences. To manage it, the House of Cards decision category is now available. It can be used to increase relations with other factions or to see the progress until the next balance check. I'm guessing, yeah, it's in here. We can guarantee the support of at least 226 MPs to vote with us on any bill. We don't have quite enough. We need better relations with, let's see. The Conservatives are great. We have excellent relations with them. Democrats are terrible. I think we need the Independents. Let's improve relations. We're almost there. I'm guessing I need that for something in the future, so I'll preemptively go at it. And our troops have indeed arrived. Move in, boys. Let's get a planning bonus as well, eh? Also, yeah, staff office planning. Get that up quicker. I don't want our poverty rate to rapidly worsen, but we can definitely click this one right here. There we go. We're breaking through right away. Even though we only have 1 helicopter unit, they can't really stop us. Okay, we'll stop attacking for now. Hitler names Speer his successor. That wouldn't be too bad, I think. They're not aligned to us, but none of the successors are, I think. Next up, let's do the financial analysis and get a little bit of stability. Currently, our stability is pretty dang good, so Still are at 32. Let's improve relations with the technocrats next. We have at least poor relations with everyone. It's not great, but it's a good start. No one's atrocious or terrible. Manchuria reports exceptional growth. Although we do know from our Guangdong campaign that's gonna stagnate, sadly. I can only hope Guangdong goes to a path that gives us a lot of money. Hey, what the hell? Why did it get in there? No, get back. Did we somehow lose our port? Our airport at some point? I don't think so. That's probably why we had a tough time. Now we should no longer have a tough time pushing in. China reports positive growth. That's also okay-ish. Could be better, could be worse. Uh-oh. There seems to be a brawl going on. Local garrisons have been requested by the outer Manchurian authorities to help control, and the local police commissioner has put out a statement. The recent violence and historic tensions between settlers and natives of outer Manchuria can find its origin in issues of societal, or social and economic disparity. Bengali textiles. We do need to get ourselves an Indian collaborator. These two might unify eventually. We just hope it's going to be under Azad Hind. There we go. Push in, my dude. East India delivers an honest answer. Last of the nations due to send their economic reports to Tokyo's Azad Hind. The reports on the economic of Free India outlined over 3 pages in text, charts, and graphs with stark truths of East India's economy. It did not outline a disaster situation. The economy was in fact managing to stay afloat, but at a level far below the expectations of Japanese projections. Let's hope that next year at least it'll prove a little bit more promising. And let's show it to the public. There we go. No, don't let them take this tile. Good. Damn it. They've retaken it. It's those goddamn Americans. Let's see, let's supply some stuff. Do a little bit of this. I don't want to authorize bombing. I don't want to make my citizens poorer. So this one, can I mayhaps make it into an... Yeah, we almost have enough airplanes. Attack helicopters. We need to make more, but we're well on our way. Shoot this guy, right? Because I didn't even see. We got bad shit going on down in the south. Let me clean that up real quick. Should be doable. Do I have enough? Yeah, I do have enough artillery for 1 artillery piece into my helicopter division. Okay, now ensure continued prosperity. Our government stability will increase, and security policy will increase in effectiveness. Okay, that's not bad. Oh, this would be perfect. I will have Malacca encircled. Kill off this one unit that's in there. It'll make our time a little bit easier. Oh no, you guys, you don't have to help me with the encirclement. That's fine. Yeah, now you want to walk in. Okay, I see how it is. And we seem to have one, although I didn't really push in that much. What does that do then? We still have this, so I don't know how that works. I guess it's bugged, maybe? Oh well. Sasakawa wants funding. Kante received a letter from famous philanthropist and innovative entrepreneur Sasakawa Ryoichi. He is establishing a new oil company based around the Karafuto fields, and he's wondering if Ino's government would be interested in subsidizing this enterprise. The prospecting operation was successful, and a large and profitable field was found. Certainly a good idea. Ino is, however, unsure if the best is to handle the request within the Kante or give it to Kishi Nobusuke. Ino will handle the request personally. I think that's what I'm gonna go for. I looked into some console commands as well. I don't know how to get rid of this. Having decided to handle the matter of the new Karafuto oil fields himself, it's now time for Prime Minister Ino to determine the appropriate amount of funding. Subsidizing the oil field would be no cheap matter, as was the case with anything involving oil extraction. There were risks to consider as well. Caution suggesting that only a small sum should be given to Sasakawa. Yet other voices suggested that Sasakawa's business in Karafuto was more than sound enough to deserve a general investment. The reward would surely be great. You know what? More funding than usual. Let's see. This can only end well. And after this month ticks over, I'll just load the game up again. Maybe that'll fix it. It's the first time that happened to me, though. No need to go overboard. There's even more prisons. God, okay. Make as many as we can. Yeah, let me save as well and then reload the game. Maybe that'll fix it. It might have something to do with the fact that I tagged over, maybe. Because when I booted up the game, I started off as a lead, and I was like, you know what? I've never actually played Japan, so I tagged over. Okay, that's why? I mean, I've tagged over in the past before. It never did anything like it, so I wouldn't know. Please. That did not fix it. You know what? I'll restart the campaign. It's only been like half a year. It's gonna bother me, and I feel like it's gonna distract me from the fact that if I get another global conflict, it will be not as easy as it is currently to see. It went a lot quicker this time around. It's February still. I just yeeted myself in really quickly instead of letting it become a slog. And it's gone. Fix it. I'm not gonna give in to the greed of Sasakawa. That number is correct, sir. We will arrest and torture you if you do not give us profits. A mysterious desert. Sasakawa's up to no good. Yeah, I'm gonna smack his ass. Silence? Search the scene. And there it is, the arrest of Sasakawa. A mysterious letter threatening the life of Prime Minister could not go disregarded, especially when it could be quickly tied to a suspect with plenty of reason to send it. Upon the advice of his closest confidant, the Prime Minister would go ahead with an arrest. If that mogul is willing to kill me over disagreement over subsidies, then he's better off behind bars. Who knows what he might even have killed in the past over something like this. I need you to arrange a high-profile arrest. Fu Sasakawa Ryoichi. Now get to done. One less troublesome Keiretsu stooge to deal with. This is definitely not blow up in my own face. Now we're searching the scene. As always, documenting every aspect of the scene would take time, and if done too quickly, it might fail to capture what they needed at all. Break out the latex gloves. The detective failed to find anything of interest in the area immediately around where the body was being found. Someone might as well have gone over it a few times with a mop before they arrived. As he stepped outside, however, and began walking towards the south end of the massive concrete building, he smelled something. Faint, sharp odor of burning paper. Just in the nick of time, he's found some files. He's got a bunch of helping hands, that Sasakawa. Let's find them. Scan, the politician undermines the emperor. Yukio slipped out the door just outside the National Diet, wearing a long brown coat and deep-shaded glasses. He held his fedora as he skipped down the steps, ushering himself out of the view of the crowd of the press. A microphone was hurled in his face, prompting him to answer for his crimes. Akiyama cleared his throat and explained his criticism of extrajudicial killings in northwestern China by the military, even detailing his support for the same legal system in which the emperor was the sovereign of. Who cares about the truth indeed? We are an autocracy. Twins of death, they found another body. But where the previous victor's character had been smooth and deliberate, with neatly traced line. This one was shaky and jagged. The killer must have been in a hurry. This wasn't carefully planned, premeditated murder. This was on a whim, or perhaps out of necessity. Not enough. Per our agreement, you are scheduled to meet our associates at exactly 7 minutes past noon, where the disposal equipment will be returned to you. Our associate has been told to expect a man wearing basic military fatigues, brown shoes, and a facial scar above the right eye. Ensure you strictly adhere to this description. We sympathize with your concerns, Mr. Takahara. However, we assure you that when the job is complete, you will be paid for your time. I guess it wasn't personal, huh? Oh? Do we pay into Indonesia, which will strengthen the government of Indonesia? Yeah. We want them to stay in control, after all. This was supposed to be nothing than a murder investigation, same procedure as always. The detective had done his part of finding the body, so he sent on to the morgue like he always did. The ambulance drove for about 5 minutes before the bomb that had been stuffed in the corpse's chest cavity went off. Of course, everyone heard the blast right away, but by the time the police arrived on scene, all that was left was smoldering wreck. By some miracle, the driver of the ambulance managed to survive the initial blast. They found him collapsed a few meters from the driver. After 6 hours of surgery, the driver was pronounced dead. Now this is personal indeed. Do want to find this guy. Nothing was left of the body. As for the bomb that had caused a horrifying blast, very little of it was left in any useful capacity. But beyond that one string of numbers and letters on the file, the bomb succeeded in its purpose. The body it led had reached its bloody end. And Sasukawa indeed goes free. I feel like Ino was gonna die because of this, huh? Tracking down Officer Takahara was easy enough. They had him scheduled to be on call for Tokyo Central Police Station itself. Once there, with a quick flash of their badges and stern relaying of their intent, they were waved past the front desk and towards the general officer's hall. With a curt nod, the detective turned to the door at the far end of the room that had led back to the entrance of the station. When he pushed the heavy metal doors open, he saw no sign of Takahara, but he heard some hushed words float from around the corner. Not waiting for the rest of his team to come through the door, the detective briskly rounded the corner in search of the source. There he found himself face to face with Officer Takahara, who had been locked in conversation with another man who looked quite like him in passing, save for the deep scar above his right eye. There was a brief moment of silence as the three men stared at each other, but it lasted no longer than the time it took for them to reach for their weapons. The first sound was heard, the detectives shouting of police, and shots were fired. Who survived, though? The detective's vision was blurry. The shapes and colors of the world merged and melded with each other. The detective also became aware of the fact that the world around him was quite loud. The sounds appeared distant and garbled, but he had been so focused on looking, he had hardly noticed them at all. Requesting backup on our location immediately. We are not done. Tremors on the Burgundian soil and war in the desert. Name a more iconic duo. Turkey and finding the rest of the Middle East? Don't think you can. GDP growth? Yeah, definitely go for that. We want to get our economy more or less under control. Stage 2. The investigation gains momentum. Given this general sense of turmoil, it was all the more surprising when the chief gathered the department before him one morning and announced that the investigation was moving to its next stage. Teams would be reorganized to shift away from fieldwork and focus on filling the holes in the case with paper. Afterwards, the detective paused to run his eyes over the rows of silent, stone-faced men before him. No questions? Okay then. This is what we're gonna do. We've saved up a lot of political power. I wonder when we're gonna be able to spend it. Evidence suggests that the existence of a wider conspiracy does not in turn give clearance to boldly burst our way through the organs of state on the pretense of obstruction of justice. Rather, we must take the opposite position in a sense. We must carefully plan our actions before we take them, as well as anticipate and prepare for results of said actions. Previously, we had used our obligation to enforce the law like a hammer, smashing aside all obstacles to reveal the information we desire. Here, however, the key is superior to the battering ram. The fierce rivalries between and within the branches of military and government have encouraged the growth of a culture of underhanded opportunism. It permeates through the offices and conference rooms of administration and clouds the judgment of those within. That weakness we must exploit. The conditions that motivated the crime will be its perpetrator's undoing. It's going to be quite a task, though. Hayashi, please follow me to my room. We need to discuss the specific of Akane-chan's situation. I'm sure that you've been seen Akane-chan's symptoms over the last few weeks. I have. As a father, Hayashi could only give answers that might help speed his daughter's recovery and let the medicine man go to work. Do you know the cause? See, these photographs here, I know you're not the one to be peeved at this sort of thing, Hayashi. All the victims have the same kind of diet, fish or shellfish. But I think this factory over there might be suspect. Heavy metal poisoning. Akane is one of the lighter cases, but it'll be better if she doesn't eat fish from the Minamata area. Are you sure it's the fault of that factory? 70 to 80%, yeah. Hayashi immediately knew what to do. Oh, he's gonna do terrorism. Hell yeah. Smoke from the chief's detective cigarette wafted towards the ceiling as he leaned back in his office chair. It rippled past the frosted glass windows that separated his office from the common area that housed the desk of the department's office and detectives. Two of such detectives sat in front of him now, each in an uncomfortable metal chair, half a meter away from the hulking mess of polished wood that served as the chief's desk. What I'm trying to say, sir, he began, is that given the circumstances, it would make sense to establish an informal network inside key offices beforehand rather than try to build a network of contacts as we go along. What do you mean by informal, he asked. Unofficial connections mostly. Former contacts for old cases, friends of friends, old army buddies, whatever. People we could ask to take care of the pen and paper tasks that bureaucrats are usually not so motivated to do. All with the understanding that their efforts is deeply appreciated by the Tokyo Police Service, who will happily remember or forget their contributions depending on what they prefer. And because of the rather sensitive nature of the operation, we think that it's best to limit our networks to one major government working group. Otherwise, we risk alerting the conspirators if they find out half their office goes down for coffee at the station once a week. It's going to be years, I feel like, before we finish this investigation. For Hayashi, today should have been another day at work. As a soldier turned fisherman, he did not have much time for holidays or vacations. Takeshi and Akane depended on him, and at the very least, he would see them complete their education. To his children, as to his state, duty was everything. In the bright glare of the morning sunlight, near the factory's opening hours, as the winds were blowing out to the sea, and the local veterans stood by its gate, preventing anyone from leaving or entering. When the police came to dissuade them, they brandished their rifles and machetes, rendering no less dull nor deadly by the years spent in unuse. When the police threatened to evict them forcibly from the premises, they fired a warning shot. Finally, as a last resort, the police sent a friend of Hayashi's, a local bar owner, to meet with him. From a distance, he looked ridiculous. The skin and complexion of a man unused to exertion happened under the sunlight, much less in the early morning. Hayashi, have you gone mad? Have you gone cracked? If you stand down now, they'll let you go. You're a veteran, Hayashi, and they respect that. Not enough, apparently. Me and my boys have only one condition, a meeting with any official, scratch that, prefectural officials. I need someone who can do something regarding this monstrosity. That's all. I'll stand down once I know who I am talking to. By midday, the news had spread across the country. In the evening, it would reach the ears of Prime Minister Ino. A new scandal. Alright, and here we are trying to establish some more contacts. Do we talk to the taxman or the auditor? I've got an inkling for the auditor instead. Every day, Takeda drove Prime Minister Ino to his office in the National Diet. On the way there, they passed by a crowd of people going to work on foot, ready to earn their living. Ino, Takeda said to Ino, have you decided what to do with the Minamata veteran? He's everywhere in the news nowadays. Seemed like trouble. Takeda, it had slipped my mind earlier. Thank you for reminding me. You know, my father is a veteran. Fought in China and everything. If he knew that some bigwig corporation had put chemicals in my water, he would be enraged in the same way as the Minamata person. I sympathize, is all. You're not usually this talkative. Did you find what the man did righteous? No. I just found him understandable, coming from a veteran's family. When I was little, my father would usually wake up screaming. Now, he just sits on the veranda, under the eaves, his eyes blank. He felt as if his country had left him behind. The Minamata veteran might have a point. I think that's what I want to go for. Have you two handled the matter? I want to see that factory closed tomorrow. No operations would resume. No nothing. If I find out that the veteran is still here, the deal is off. I cannot protect you from the media backlash. That you would have to handle yourself. I understand, Ino. I must say, this is most uncharacteristic of you. With so much power in your hands, the Toko, the Kempeitai, it would have been far easier to handle this matter discreetly. Still, I would not complain. The Chiso Corporation would be more than happy to receive a compensation over the government's requisition of its facilities in Minamata. If I may ask, when will the transfer be? Today, tomorrow, next week? I don't know. You'll get there, I am sure. I admire your discretion, Now, if you excuse me, my timetable waits. Business of conducting business. There's so much text, man. I feel like it's more than usual. How it seems to me is that we have two angles to approach this case. One is through the killer himself, who he was, where he came from, and how he ended up here. His tragic backstory, all that nonsense. The other is through the circumstances of the killing. Why did it happen where it happened, where it did, when it did, and in the way it did. And you think it's a matter of picking the right one? That's just it. If there really is a conspiracy, or at least one going further than we've found already, then none of those details would have been left to chance. What I mean is not just about where those angles lead, it's about where they overlap. So what do you suggest? Two teams, each of us leading one. One focused on the criminal, the other on the crime. Alright, let's go with that. So in total, we know three central things about the Takehara here. First, that he killed Yoshikage Shinji in a very specific manner despite no apparent relations between them. Second, he is a member of the armed forces, which is likely the army. And third, he has a half-brother in Tokyo police force willing to assist him. So that gives us two major avenues of investigation. You have the military angle, finding out what the military knew about him and what he did for them, or we can cover the basics. Regardless, our goal is to construct a motivation for his prior actions and from there try and form a reasonable connection to further parties. So given the circumstance of that case, that is, the fact that the suspect has a brother, should we consider that angle in investigation too? At this stage, we are missing so much basic facts. Let's establish a basic profile. That way we can maybe link up the brother as well. Tachi looked down at the paper arrayed on his office desk before him. By all accounts, Takehara was thoroughly average. He had been an average student, both in conduct and exams. He had chosen to enlist in the General Infantry Corps after his final year of school, with no pre-obvious intention of pursuing a specialized role or command. He had been picked up twice for bar fights, but it never amounted to anything more than a night in custody. The only noteworthy thing in that respect was his arrest 6 months ago for the possession of an illegal substance. However, no further information was given on the report, and it seems that he was released the next day without incident. None of the other files had implied anything related to drugs, but Takehara's medical record was not included in the bundle. Track down those medical records. They sound suspicious. As expected, finding his records in the webwork of Japanese bureaucracy was no easy task. The basic details were generally unsurprising. The records described a physically healthy young man, both civilian and military standards. The statistics lined up those records in the autopsy, but the more recent records revealed a pair of intertwined complexities. At some point in the previous years, Ryo had begun to spiral into what the doctors had referred to as a persistent depressive state. Most notably, the only break in the downward trend seems to be around 8 months ago, when Ryo expressed excitement over rekindling the relationship with his brother. But the revelation did not end there. A handwritten note was found shoved in the back of the folder containing a medical record dating 6 months ago. It appeared to be written by a doctor who had examined Takehara. Whether it was intended for his own or the patient's reference, it was unclear. While the specific purpose of the recommendation was not immediately clear to the team, for once their next move was, okay, a spoonful of sugar helps the audit go down. Initially, the West Tokyo Behavior Clinic was reluctant to cooperate with the investigation, but after proper warnings were shown and some cautionary statements about obstruction of justice were given, they meekly stepped aside. Unlike the previous medical records, the file obtained from the clinic were mostly useless. In fact, the most critical file was the first one in the folder, which detailed the reasons they had brought him to the clinic. As the prior police report had hinted, Takehara had recently developed a drug addiction. Takehara was specifically addicted to amphetamines. Not only were these generally more expensive than most illegal drugs, the notes indicated that he had been taking particularly powerful, long-lasting doses. The question was, how could an ostensibly impoverished soldier get addicted to such an expensive drug? Someone must have drugged him instead. authorize the expansion. It's gonna keep costing us more and more, but yeah. Tachi slapped the envelope onto Kodaira's desk. Nothing, he said, exasperated. Over a week of constant inquiries and form requests, and it all amounts to absolutely nothing. The army is known for being quick to share. This can't just be a matter of refusal to share. In fact, I'm sure if they had the ability to, they would have happily blamed Takahara's action on drugs so they could get us to stay away. According to them, they have no records, medical or otherwise, to suggest that he suffered from any infliction at all. It just can't be the case. It would require such an extreme level of negligence to overlook a heavily withdrawn private that there's almost no way it could be unintentional. It's either that or Takahara had access to a steady supply of rare expensive drugs while deployed on a military base, which would also require a pretty damn big crack in security to be possible. So yeah, so which is it? I'm not sure, but I know what comes next. Military precision, my ass. You're certain? He asked. Tachi opened his mouth to reply, but Kodaira beat him to it. Absolutely, sir. The evidence we have compiled based on the profile of Takahara simply cannot be dismissed as circumstantial. Every indication suggests that Takahara's motivations were either facilitated by some personnel from the army or made feasible by some failure within its system. Regardless, the generally poor cooperation shown by the IRAGS, combined with almost pathological insufficient maintenance of records, should provide more than enough grounds to justify a reorientation of the investigation towards the military administration. You couldn't have said it better myself, sir. Well then, get to it. So, Tachi proposed a direct route. He maintained that the army could not waver or slink away from such serious administrative failings if they were brought out into the light. Escalating the issue to the higher echelons of the army command would force a response out of necessity. What they needed to demand, Tachi maintained, was accountability. Kodaira, on the other hand, pushed for an indirect roundabout approach. He argued that they would never get what they needed from the army by operating under the impression that they were on even ground, because they clearly not. Instead, they should go around the army in a sense, direct the correct agency or organization towards the existent evidence of mismanagement. Let's go hold them accountable. Tachi, emboldened by the chief's endorsements of his strategy, oversaw the subsequent correspondence personally. Through his efforts, Tachi wove an accusatory narrative aimed directly at the ministry. For their part, the ministry did seem to take an almost immediate notice of Tachi's handiwork. Just days after the first wave of correspondence, a sealed envelope addressed from the Army of Ministry Tokyo headquarters arrived at the station. Inside was a neatly typed and folded letter addressed to the chief of department. They will do it at the utmost haste. Yeah, so that was a bust, I think. We'll have to do it indirectly, if still possible. Unsurprisingly, waiting for the response of the army devolved into an endless stream of unreturned calls, deflected questions, and deafening silences. The ministry's reply, after forcing its way through the obligatory pleasantries, first took the opportunity to clear themselves of any wrongdoings and write off any suggestions otherwise as hearsay. They maintained that the administrative mishaps the investigation had experienced were side effects of previous logistical restructurings. Naturally, the minister's calm rebuttal sent the investigation team into a frenzy of activity. The lead detectives had no intention of taking the ministry at their word and resolved to take further action. Over their heads, let's go. I don't know if any of that will do anything, but we gotta try. Overwhelmed by the politics of the cabinet, there was only one body left that the investigation could look up to for assistance. The bickering between the Imperial Army and Navy became so intense that it threatened to tear apart the war effort before it even began. To resolve this, the Emperor Meiji ordered the creation of the Imperial General Headquarters. But it seems that didn't go that well, so much for playing nice. We're gonna go the illegal route now. Kill the Emperor. Well, not really, but... The Navy sends its regards in a good or a bad way. Huh. Are we gonna get killed? While the information given by the man from the Navy was not so significant, its potential implications certainly were. It seemed that the appeals to the Imperial General Headquarters by the investigation attracted the attention of the other half of the Japanese armed forces. And according to the testimony of the man, a member of the Navy Ministry, not only was the IGHQ dismissal of the investigation unremarkable, it was downright anticipated. He claimed that the General Headquarters had long since been gutted and largely stripped of its authority by the efforts and ambitions of the army. Through a combination of vocal protest and outright defiance, the army had effectively neutered any potential for an outside party to audit their inner workings. As the headquarters was partially controlled by the army Any mandate the organization attempted to give the IGA would immediately result in half their staff conspiring against them. As such, it was now nearly impossible to bypass the ever-convenient claims of issues of national security that the army gave whenever faced with an inquest. These considerations, while hugely impactful, were well beyond the authority of the Tokyo police to investigate. The two detectives agreed that this would require nothing less than the cabinet-level intervention. Where they disagreed was on which part of the cabinet they should involve. Tachi held that this was significant enough on its own to be brought before the general review of the cabinet. Blow the whistle. No. We've done it by the book. Blow the fucking whistle. Controversy in the cabinet. As expected, the investigation demands for accountability from the army ministry were met with furious opposition, mostly from the office in question. It seemed at the moment the paperwork was placed into the hands of the workers, a storm of controversy engulfed the whole forum. Of course, the mere implication that some subversive action had been carried out by the army kicked off an accompanying flurry of speculation. Ooh, let's see if we survive this. Eventually, after days of debate in the Cabinet Assembly, a new perspective was offered to the floor. The Navy Ministry, which up until that point had remained mostly silent and seemed withdrawn from the issue, put forth their first statement since the whole affair began. But as they quickly made clear, the statement did not come from the Ministry itself in a sense. Rather, they were just giving it on the request of the Navy General Staff Office. But the position put forth by what they thought was the Army's fierce rival was almost unbelievable. The Staff Office justified the relevance of providing their opinion on the basis of their shared membership of the Supreme War Council with the Army Ministry, which they claimed played an essential military and political role. They initially reiterated that the Army's position on the preservation of the independence of organizations and the potential security ramifications, but afterwards made a much stronger claim. They maintained that the right to exclusive authority over the legal investigation of military affairs rested solely with the internal system of the respective branch purely on the basis of military operational security. By this fact alone, they claimed no other non-subordinate office of state could attempt to subvert the judgment of said systems without violating systematic independence. The investigation team was left baffled, none more so than the lead detectives. They had fully anticipated that all the elements of the Navy would have taken this opportunity to assert dominance over their bureaucratic rival. Very suspicious indeed. Now let's follow the next lead. Let's follow the shipping lead. Oh, a fruitful relationship. Sir, the president will see you now. Iwakuro entered and sat down. Major General, thank you for your efforts. I assure you they haven't gone unnoticed. President Bose, I thank you in return. You will see on page 2 and 3 of the reports that HQ has agreed to ship another 1,000 assault rifles. I appreciate your support, but the INA is unmatched in almost 2 to 1. What we need is air power, the same power that won the war in China. What did the Imperial Air Force have to say? Unfortunately, I haven't much good news on that front. Even a squadron of jet fighters will need tens of hundreds of engineers, maintenance workers, and so on. The war will decide the fate of 500 million people. If there is anything you can do with the Air Force, we will remember it. Oh, I think we are sending some jet fighters indeed. At that point, the majority of evidence collected by the investigation pointed to some of international shipping. Wherever an organization found some international commercial interest, private or imperial, the captains of the sea lanes were sure to follow. Why is the Navy moving Army's guns? Why would the Navy reverse their position? Indeed. I'm very curious. Are they working together? For once. Peacetime preoccupation. I think let's go check the civilian shipping maybe. There's bound to be more. So hopefully more opportunity to find the culprit. Now let's check. What do we want to look for? The shipping records. Let's start with that. Also add another elite infantry in here. Should have more than enough, right? Yes. I'm actually thinking mountaineers. Would that not be better? Not really. When the hammer begins to fall, in order to resolve this, the investigation's case further complicated the issue because of the nature of the shipping they were investigating. It existed in a gray area between private industrial and public military shipping. As such, some aspects of the records were under the jurisdiction of civil organizations, granting access to some information. In order to resolve this, Kodaira and Tachi would need to construct a watertight and convincing narrative to gain persistent, unfettered access to the necessary files. Aka heaves and leans back into his precious Midori. But Midori is no schoolmate. Neither is she a courtesan. Midori moans louder than any girlfriend Aka's dad had, and Aka could ride her for hours as much as he pleases. Okay then. All there is now is silence until the familiar hum of the other engines. Ah, thank God. I was like, hey yo, TNO, what are you trying to do here? How's that scar treating you, you magnificent Mongol slayer? Quit it, kid. You don't know anything till you've been in the shit. Ryu replied dryly. Alright, old man. So where am I taking Midori tonight? Out to the port's other side of Tokyo. If we get there by 2, why not ride around in Saitama for a bit? Inside the car are 2 plainclothes officers, silently watching Aka and the bikers for a while now. The flame of youth is often hard to extinguish. Attack helicopter company. Ooh, that could be handy. Start with the domestic ports, investigate those. Looking at her clipboard, Yoshike scanned the list of names, looking for students that hadn't read from the textbook. Her eyes landed on Kojima Keitaro. Keitaro-chan, could you please read for the class? He silently nodded and turning to his book, seemingly having forgotten what paragraph he was to read. Seeing his dilemma, she saved him. The greedy Shang government, she loudly whispered. The greedy Shang government in China, in a bid to distract the people of China from their poor lives, staged an incident along the Lugo Bridge in order to start a war. We responded appropriately. The Shang government and the communists had been fighting with each other, which destroyed China, but they came together to attempt to hold liberation back. After a long war, Pan-Asian unity had prevailed, and the Chinese people were happy. Okay. Control the past. Indeed. The ship with no name. What is so special about there, indeed? What will we find? Uh-oh. If it hasn't been for Detective Kodaira's time in the Navy, if it hadn't been for Kodaira's time in the Navy, the investigation might have passed over the glaring evidence that was situated in the tangled mess of military-industrial shipping. In the records of the ship that Kodaira noticed, the first evidence was of the fraud, but after recognizing its implications, he soon began to check all the other records for similar evidence, which he found in abundance. What gave it away in the end was the ballast. Or ballast? When a cargo ship needed to load or unload substantial amounts of cargo, they would need to make a corresponding ballast or ballast adjustment to keep the ship level and its center of gravity low. But in the case of the Navy's shipping, on many occasions, the ballast adjustment did not match the weight, implying that they were actually hauling more than they claimed. But what was even more alarming was this occurred on a number of occasions with ships carrying military equipment. Oops. The essence of our proposal is this, Takasaki said. We have Manchukuo, you have Japan. A mutual relaxation of our respective grips over our territory would be, I believe, very beneficial. Mitsubishi recently launched a development application for several plants in the outer regions of Xinjiang. And therein lies the issue. You have Manchukuo, we have Japan. One, I must say, is a much greater prize than the other. I'm sorry, Takasaki, but I don't see any way we can make this deal acceptable. Sokomai. The Zaibatsu stick their heels in the ground, as expected. You said you had a backup plan. Indeed, Director. We'll use their heavy hand against them. There are many companies with significant plant investment on the verge of bankruptcy. Thanks to our friend's intolerance of competition, Hitachi will buy them up, establishing ourselves as a major player through ruthless efficiency. If they don't take the carrot, they will feel the stick. We're close to our very first shuffling of the card. Nominally, the influence that the Imperial Navy has in our politics is enough to keep us from keeping too close of an eye on them and their affairs. But this issue has gone on long enough. With enough support and evidence on our side, we have secured a warrant to review cargo manifests. We can now inspect exactly what the army has been receiving. There are, of course, a couple of options as to how we can secure this information. Either we can take the safe route and check the warehouse records and make some interference from there, or we can take a direct, risky approach. Or we can take the direct but risky route and seize the ship. Why not go for the safe option? There's no incentive to go for the difficult one. The Conservatives will introduce the Industrial Freedoms Act. Yeah, let's pass an act while we have the majority. Damn it. After the allegations of corruption within Ino's government, we lose some public approval, stability, a decent amount of stability actually. We still have plenty. Tachi is not a terrible taciturn person in public, but the warehouse shocks even him into silence. The nondescript building is staffed by what would appear to be a normal bunch of workers of assorted nationality. The warehouse functions in a perfectly normal warehouse, just like every other one in the sphere. there's only one problem: the paperwork, of which there is none. The records of the ships which its services are clean. The office to which Kodaira is directed turns out to be more of an exercise on imagination than an actual corporate structure. Tachi is stumped, Kodaira is horrified. The team is shocked into silence. Never in all of their years of life have they seen such an affront against the ethos of the Japanese company. More importantly, without the accompanying documents as physical proof, nothing can be said about the nature of the cargo. But after 20 hours of combing through the warehouse, during which several team members collapse, a series of unmarked boxes is found. Without even the most basic of identifying marks, invoices, or receipts on their body, the way ahead is obvious, if only because there is no other. We'll trace those damn boxes. The boxes, upon examination and after a prolonged, occasional physical struggle with the workers handling them, reveal little. The goods within appear to be perfectly normal military surplus, totally in line with the IGA guidelines for shipping supplies. When traced, an examination of a random selection leads to a mess of origins from army warehouses around the spheres. So confusing, Kodaira and Tachi agree not to follow it. In fact, the spread of the surplus goods leads to a messy web of transactions that it looks like a cover-up. Most boxes of goods will come from a common network linked by a maritime route or geographical proximity. And then it hits them. The content of the boxes is totally random, but the box itself is not. All the boxes have the same packaging. The IGA uses local packaging from its shipping requirements, a common source, in an army warehouse not too far from the warehouse itself. The team readies its gear. Paperwork is made in huge gluts. This could be a big score. I do wonder what we'll find. Tachi flashes his credentials, but the worker does not budge. Annoyed, Tachi goes on a long rant until the worker finally gives in nervously and allows the two detectives to pass. The warehouse is completely empty. The two detectives walk around for a moment in stunned silence, looking for anything at all: weapons, supplies, the kinds of things that they had been tracking to find this place. They find not a single box of shells in the entire building. They immediately begin pulling aside and questioning truly minute skeleton crew. Kodaira eventually demands to see actual documents and records, but is still denied. Tachi goes to investigate the office anyway, but finds nothing. Even after prying open locked cabins, he finds no records, nothing. They have found so much more and so much less than they had hoped for. So there's nothing actually? All the goods that they've been shipping is just fake? This has become much bigger than they really ever wanted. They have crossed the regular threshold of risk to a point where their safety may be compromised. There are clearly very important and very high-ranking people who would be willing to take drastic measures to keep this quiet, whatever this really is. The debate soon proves to be extremely divisive. Many became extremely worried about whether they might be in too deep and if it might just be best to drop the whole thing. Others insist that the only way to ensure their own safety is to continue pressing harder. Every moment that this loose end stays untied, they become more at risk of retaliation. The only sure way to both be safe and to make sure that justice is served is to strike first. Eventually, only one conclusion is reached. Something has to be done. This case cannot go cold. After hours of debate and scheming, Tachi finally speaks up with a truly insane idea. This is clearly much deeper than anticipated. The military is involved somehow. If they do not act soon, they could be in the sights of some powerful and very dangerous people. Thus, the only course of action is to strike fast and, more importantly, strike hard. If the suspects will not cooperate, which they have shown they have no plans to do, then the investigators will have to get the smoking gun themselves. A vulnerable base, one assigned to the unit which the warehouse supposedly belonged to. A quick raid in and out. Kodaira listened carefully, and though many are wary of the plan, he speaks in favor. He talks about the contacts he has made over the years, people who could get men and supplies necessary for such an ambitious operation, people who have dealt with unsavory and dangerous things before. Kodaira is, after all, one of the most seasoned members of the team. Tachi thanks Kodaira but insists he knows his own plan and the people he wants to carry it out. He is young, fresh, and the wild card. No, let's go with Kodaira. I trust him. They both want this to succeed. The investigators decide that Kodaira, as the most experienced of the detectives, should be the one to seek out allies. Tachi accepts this judgment with only little argument, and Kodaira thanks the team and promises not to let them down. He skips formalities and makes it clear that this is a dire situation and he cannot disclose too much. His contacts understand. This is not the first time they have to exercise discretion. He finds two potential allies that interest him most. The first are a few policemen in the Tokyo Police Department who are personal friends of Kodaira. Though he suspects the conspiracy may even reach as the police department, he would and has trusted these friends with his life, and they can gather the non-corrupted and loyal officers of the department. The other contact is riskier, but perhaps more rewarding. He has managed to gather a short list of discontent and slightly hot-headed officers who do much for a chance for advancement. Yeah, but they're sooner to betray us for advancement too. No, the men of the department will be our allies. We'll go with that. I'm nervous, man. I hope this works. Tohoku Winters. Sure, we got plenty of political power. Although, maybe the boy's got a right idea. Yeah, let's listen to him. Made contact. It's time to move in, man. I wonder what the lobbying thingy... Ah, there it is. It might still be too late for this. The house will be reshuffled in 24 days. Industrial Freedoms Act, we get political power, bonuses. Oh, but the regulations decrease and political parties decrease. I don't know, man. We have excellent relations with the... let's demand... Well, let's court the Kidoite. They like us anyway. Taichi and Kodaira looked at each other grimly before they entered the office of their boss. They had worked hard to ensure they had the proper allies and contacts to make this operation a reality. As soon as they explained the planned raid, the boss immediately began tearing into it. He was extremely skeptical that it could work at all, and was worried about how terrible the repercussions could be if it did fail. He was a man who played by the rules, and rules were not terribly well defined here. The discussion was on the brink of becoming a full-blown argument, but through deft teamwork and excellent planning, Kodaira and Tachi were able to hold their grounds without pushing too hard. There was one catch: the boss was not convinced that the team had all the people it needed to carry out the raid. He ordered the two detectives to gather more allies. I think I trust a criminal more than a politician. Yeah, some might say it's the same thing, but there's any nuance. Okay, ready when you are. Make a quick call, and the Yakuza bosses agreed to help us out. The investigation team has gathered a cabal of uneasy friends and allies. The planning is in its final stages. There remains, however, one titanic decision: to raid the army or to raid the navy. The two have put together aside their differences for mutual gain, but their general separation and traditional rivalry means that only one can be focused on. Let's go for the army. They have more information. Oh, was this a success? Nice. We don't have any foreign conflicts yet. We've only been playing for a year, and I feel like we're nearing the end of the video. Kodaira emphasized the fact that it would be easy to track the physical shipment. The team began to move. Let's go. The team worked overtime behind the scenes to get the modifications to the gun working, augmented sights, new chambers, new magazines, with all the flashy new additions. Damn, we're gonna do like a heist. That is cool as hell. And we're bugging everything as well. The police were watching, and after all, and soon Japan would be watching too. Offers came flowing in one by one in meetings and through letters and anonymous and not so anonymous offers in bars and hallways. And behind the closed doors of the surveillance rooms and the meeting rooms, the web grew to encompass army ministries, both small and large, logistics, intelligence, literally half the infantry units in the sphere, the Air Force. Most of these agencies had attempted to use counter-espionage to cloak their activities as per protocol. The Trojan asset, as Tachi has taken to call them, had neutered the efforts. Some links on the web, the cluttered board, were thicker than most, but by far the largest individual connections were linked to an agency whose identity continued to elude the team until one offer, written in hastily scribbled handwriting, came up with an exact match for font and writing style. A senior officer in the Kenpai Tai, their biggest internal security competitor. Kodaira and Tachi looked at each other, and laughter echoed down the halls. After all their efforts taken to secure their target, it appeared the end of this investigation would be an internal affair. A very internal affair. I hope after the reshuffling... reshuffled, do we still have enough? Yeah, we still have enough. Good. Tachi and Kodaira continued to pore over the documents. They had the major points now, but it was time to take down all the names, not just the big ones. They needed to make sure that nobody would escape once the music played. There are so many layers to this crime. In the end game now, the names just kept coming. The list growing every day. And it started to look less like a chain and more like a massive web of generals, politicians, officers, and now on top of it all, admirals. Tachi and Kodaira had gone from worried to completely panicked. Now they were dealing with not one, but two different branches of the military police who would absolutely annihilate them if they found out what the two detectives were doing. Let's hope we survive. At least we get a bill passed. Some members of the Diet reassess their support for our government must continue to manage our relations. Okay, let's improve relations with pretty much everyone. We got the points anyway. Everything hinged on this raid. They couldn't be trusted with a gun, let alone the most important raid in the history of the East. A soldier was not the one to get it done either. He just followed orders of the state and killed some civilians along the way. It had to be a detective. Kodaira and Tachi jumped out. Tachi was a sprightly, naive Osaka transfer, certainly quick with a handgun and quick with spirit, but he wasn't experienced with commanding groups and not a cynic like every officer in Tokyo. The boy was used to the small-town yakuza activities in Osaka and didn't have too much dirt on his hands. Most importantly, he's a meticulously careful planner. Nothing will go unthought or unwritten. The other hand was Kodaira, old, broken, cynical. The blood on his hand never dried, and his rage against the corruption of the state, the corruption that had killed so many, never ceased. He was a loose cannon, but perhaps that was exactly what we needed. Let's go with Tachi. I like him for this job. Also report on the first quarter. Oh, the Germans are trying to outmaneuver us in our own backyard. How fucking dare you? Raid plan. Sometimes it's appropriate to fight fire. Bring out rifles. Yeah. No need to keep us lightly armored. Bust in and find the goddamn enemies. Yeah, we're not gonna leave anything up to chance. We don't have long. Let's get in already. I'm very excited to see how this turns out. Goddamn, they keep edging me. The officers silently marched over to the door where the noise originated from and prepared themselves to forcefully enter. In a great crash, the officers burst through the door and flooded the room with glaring torches and threatening yells of violence. The IGA man in the dim-lit and damp room caught in the process of incinerating piles of what seemed to be incriminating evidence. Put your arms where I can see them. It's over, boys. Malaya elections. Won by whom? Are they still a part of us, though? Yeah. You better stay that way. Oh yeah, while acceptable isn't quite what we would have wanted. However, he has been found slightly too friendly towards Indonesia to our liking, along with being too radical and not submissive enough. Nevertheless, the Prime Minister is still relatively collaborative, which means that the situation is stable enough for the time being. Hopefully he won't cause too much trouble indeed. Charging in with shields, the officers stormed in at ferocious speed and were pummeling the men they were clearly searching for. From Detective Kodaira's position, they were now dotted around the ruinous room and attempting to arrest the squirming men. A worrisome flush washed over Kodaira. Or Kodiara, there we go. I've been misspelling his name every single time. Every muscle in his body tensed as he heard the wails of the IGA men from behind cover. However, just before his blood could curdle at the sight of the death of these men, it became clear that these officers had detained and pinned them to the ground before they could so easily welcome their doom. They let out screams of defeat, muffled under the subdued force of the officers. Looks like it was largely a success for now. Detective Tachi sat in at his cheap desk, smoking a cigarette and taking a moment to relax. Spending hours analyzing printed information on documents, Tachi removed his tie and unbuttoned his shirt to cool down his hot and bothered chest. However, as the sun began to rise in the morning, Tachi had a moment of realization. He scribbled down some notes in a frantic haste, dashing the pen across the empty room. Once he was finished writing, he just yeeted that shit. He had scrounged up the required evidence to incriminate the plotting corruption in the rank of the IGA. Oh, Malagasy is acting up. I think we're gonna have a geopolitical situation soon. The dust settled, the guard accounted for, the debriefs finished. It had almost been too easy to seize the things they needed. Information, the executive management, and the wide-reaching warrant for further investigation of the armed forces for suspected treason, illegal trafficking, and conspiracy against the Emperor. An uneasy peace reigned in the meeting room. The two began thanking the many people who had made this investigation possible, and Kodaira, stuffy as ever, bowed formally in gratitude. But how would this investigation be kept going without lethal consequences? Tachi introduced the plan to keep the armed forces accountable in the public eye, a 4-hour conference with the press of Japan, so wide-scale and exhaustive in detail that it would be irrefutable. Kodaira ended on a cryptic note. Oh, so it is Kodaira. No one knew what would happen to the Kokusei when this was finished, but it was unlikely to be pleasant, and as for themselves, Ominous man indeed. He's so edgy, man. Oh, the end of French Madagascar. Perfect. Is it time for us to... There's no yet. They're gonna fall apart soon. Oh, I forgot to pump them out. That was in my previous... In my first version. That's my bad. Should have pumped out way more units. Crunch the numbers and worry about security later. Yeah. Interrogating the captives now. Clara looked through the case files. Everything seemed to be in order. Most of the captives they had arrested through the raid had been career bureaucrats fattened off government money. A cozy life and the military with limited training in combat would make them easy targets. He then leafed through a well-worn copy of the list of key performance indicators the team had outlined. If the targets were reminded that they served no purpose except as hostages for the army and navy, which was true but only to an extent, they might prove more willing to negotiate. So my friend, do you know why you're here? Kodara sighed heavily before continuing. He gave an apology for dragging the entire team into danger and expressed sincere regret that this could have ended up as simply another murder case. You can only pray. Oh, Malagasy rebels. Is it time for us? Politics makes strange bedfellows. In fighting for the liberation of the people of Madagascar from Imperials, we rely on the assistance and intelligence of the Americans. We must leverage this intelligence in such a manner that benefits us while containing American influence. Reinforce the ground game. Interrogate special advisors, or integrate them rather. Yeah. And emphasize strategic importance. The press release finally, Tachi and Kodaira made their way to the podiums. Kodaira did the majority of the talking, giving a somber greeting before getting into the actual investigation. He described the initial motive and how the case had slowly escalated further on they had gone. Eventually, he got to what would really turn heads. He described the discovery of a vast network of illegal arms dealing and general corruption. The instant those words left his mouth, he was drowned out by shouts and yells from the crowd. The questions of journalists, the gasps of workers, and the anger of the army and navy servicemen were far too much. The two detectives had to be escorted back to safety. They could no longer have any assurance of their own physical security. It was too late for that. The things people do to stop the truth. Tachi had finally decided something needed to be done. He stood up and addressed all the team members present. He said he knew how bad it felt, how scary it was, but they would be okay. Their foes had no reason to kill him. If anything, if they killed the team, they would only be proving their own guilt. However, he said that revenge often outweighed reason, and to keep alert. Would our enemies dare to stoop so low? Well, yeah, of course they would. They're politicians and stuff, man. Kodaira sighed. He had been in this meeting for over an hour, enduring hatred, fear, and absolute contempt for those who supposedly had the same ideas and goals as he did. The meeting had begun to fall apart completely. Kodaira talked less and less, and with shock he noted that the representatives had started to argue with each other as much as they were arguing with him. Soon they seemed to have forgotten him entirely and were yelling at each other with seething rage. Each blamed the branch that some other politician was representing. Kodaira had not realized until now just how deep he and his team had struck at Japan. The branches and fruits were not all that were spoiled. Their very roots were rotting away. Is there anyone innocent in this entire damn government? The men sipped from their tea, making small talk that neither cared for in the slightest. The clock above their heads ticked slowly, each little tick a second closer to total chaos. Around them, the department was going into full lockdown. All the evidence, captives, and documents were being moved around, shuffled away, and hidden in locations undisclosed to even the most of the officers. We're pretty much bracing for D-Day now. Oof. Are we even going to survive the aftermath of what you just found out? Kodaira and Tachi should have been celebrating at this point. Their prime targets have been proven demonstrably guilty, but two niggling issues haunted them, two loose ends begging for resolution. The first was drawn from the use of several code words, drawn from conversation and interrogations with various military staff. Kamakura Buddha and Kyoto Golden Temple, and Kyoto Silver Temple. All code word owners were spoken in a deferential tone and appeared to have pulled strings behind the string pullers. In fact, even the Imperial General Headquarters appeared to be innocent. So who was above the headquarters? Second was this, the army and navy. The civilian governments, the biggest enemies, were busy collapsing. So why was the civilian government falling to pieces along with them? And did anyone really know? I want to know what happened. I don't like what this... Yeah, everyone's just complicit, man. Kodaira's speech was short and to the point to prevent further internal interference. Scarcely had the meeting ended when a note was passed to him by a staffer. It was impossible to even catch his disappearing outline in the crowds of journalists. Stop before you are encircled and destroyed. Your fight was brave, but it ends here. We are watching. Yours, the 1,000 Temples. Kodara, our leaders in the Navy are in trouble. Orders from the Diet assigned to Fukushima. Where the hell is that? Kodara and Tachi were running out of time. The crisis meeting stretched into the long hours. Many of the team who had let their unspoken fears take hold of them wanted to shut down the investigation before their own heads would wound up on executive platters. Arrest warrants and lists of suspects were hastily compiled, and the team divided into ministry sections to tackle each list. To hit the government as hard as they could. If they couldn't manage a full sweep of the 1,000 temples, they could at least nab enough for them to kill the momentum. We're pretty much working for our goddamn lives. It's either we collapse the government or we die. In orders crafted to maximize humiliation, the Bureau essentially dressed down the entire team for acting above their pay grade, station, and status before the Emperor. This was fairly normal treatment and to be expected, but what was surprising the team was the blunt demand of the corpus of the investigation's evidence all to be moved to the Bureau headquarters and be safekept for an indefinite period. The reasons cited were the preservation of the dignity of the government and the Emperor. In ordinary instances, the orders ordering them to stop could at least have been punished, but this order was classified so highly that to release it would have been an immediate death sentence for most of Kodara and Tachi's team. It was an outrage and an impediment of justice, but you could admire the handiwork. Stabbed in the back, and they're to blame. They give love a bad name. I get that reference. Government lockdown. Uh-oh. The government wasn't above the scandal. It was right there in the mud with the rest with them. We just have to chase everyone. There's no innocent people at all. The Second Caribbean Legion declared war. Can we join in with that or not? No, we only have them Malagasy to fight. Oh, they trained Tachi in rudimentary middleman techniques in hostage negotiation seminars. But Tachi had never expected to use them like this. Two teams of the most powerful agencies in Japan were snapping at each other, with members of his own team desperately trying to get both sides to stand down. Hands to holsters, the police department held its breath. Looking at them too, Tachi had an idea. Didn't the art of war say that the enemies were best defeated when divided? And didn't they possess significant reserves of evidence that everyone wanted, but only one agency could keep? Divide, conquer, and survive. The riches continue, although I don't know how long they'll last. Been trying to buy our debt down, but feel like it's only going to be temporary. And one last gambit. Every side is fighting each other. Let's see if our boys can survive. The offer was transparent, appeasement at best, but was really the best that they could have managed. And even the dire straits that every branch of government were even in an offer. And given the dire straits that every branch of government were in, even an offer like this could easily be the best one of the Diet might receive. The proposal was simple. If worded to be long-winded and noble to flatter the Diet. Given the conflict of interest elsewhere in the government, the Diet was the best organization left to safeguard evidence regarding the investigation. Their cooperation would surely shield them from such of the upcoming chaos. Tachi and Kodara worded the letter to be just right, hopefully appealing to the sense of urgency and desire to remain safe that the Diet members all felt. We've researched anti-air. That means I need to produce anti-air. Several of his old contacts, people he had once considered true friends, flat out refused to meet with him. Eventually, however, he had met with a few of them. Those who knew that there was no other option. The offer was simple. They and their soldiers in the army and navy would safeguard evidence pertinent to the investigation. In return, their reputation could still be safeguarded, and perhaps they would survive and make it. Every time he made the offer, he knew it was a lie, but the people he talked to were so desperate for any chance to escape, they agreed. Legally, this meeting was not taking place in an outpost that did not exist between men that were not there. You know who we are, yes? Yes, sir. Then I shouldn't need to explain. How fucking stupid would it be to support the communists? Not necessarily. We don't need or want the AKFM to win. That would be ridiculous. But we can always use them to fight. If we want them to fight well, they'll need our help. And if by our intervention the AKFM stock in a coalition increases, what do you think would happen? It's a risk, sir. But think of it this way. If we can push the AKFM to fight where we don't want our boys to fighting, then that gives us a better chance of winning the war on our terms. Sure. Yeah. Why not? It's still not done, man. Tachi decided to, for once in this entire order, to cut the shit and talk frankly. No more flowery language. He sent out the offer as so. The Bureau of Public Order would assist in the storage and safekeeping of the evidence, but the hostile and potentially corrupt forces within the government could not seize them. In exchange, Tachi promised that if the evidence was secured, then the investigation could be turned to politically benefit the Bureau. I feel like our boys are just gonna die. And now we release debate, hope for the best. Oh. Divide, conquer, and repeat. And Madagascar. This is blowing up. How many units can I send them? I could send 3. So let's pump out our helicopters. Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome back once again. Where we left off, we were about to uncover what the hell is going on with Japan. Everyone seems to be corrupt, while at the same time doing some cheeky war crimes, or we're about to. We want to send 3 helicopter units. We cannot send any airplanes, sadly, because there's no air bases to be had. So that makes sense. Prime Minister Ino Hiroi, implicated in making concessions in over 30 key areas of military autonomy, Hayato recently resigned, proven to accept hundreds of thousands in bribes from Foreign Minister Aishiro to Security Minister Inukai Takeru. Hundreds of more names from the army, from the navy, from the diet, all complicit. The list of names only grows, and those who desire to be in the know now know. It is only a matter of time before the headlines of newspapers will blare with the cries of corruption. If the past could ever be forgotten. Yeah, there's no hope for damage control at all, I'm sorry. Zaibatsu begin to collapse even. Damn, okay. We are pretty much done for. We'll still commit some war crimes in Madagascar. That's our God-given right. The politicians knew. His message was short and tersely delivered. The government would comply with the investigation to its fullest ability. He brought with him dozens of binders, each big enough to carry perhaps years' worth of data. Tachi and Kodaira were quickly informed. They looked at each other for a moment, sharing a glance of simultaneous eagerness, fear, and confusion, before quickly standing up and heading down to grab the binders. Both of the binders contained the same general kinds of info. It was not pretty. Staggering amounts of money flowing through the Navy and Army into the accounts of the politicians. The further they read, the higher profile the names became. Soon they were no longer truly reading the reports, just skimming them and noting every single name they came across. Not a single innocent person was mentioned, from the front to the back. Everyone's just corrupted. Everybody was afraid now. The central boards was riddled with notes of various fonts and styles, and the corridors of the rooms were trodden half to dust. But no one even dared make small talk. Kodaira and Tachi found solace in the most recent routine. To properly conduct an accounting audit, an uninvolved neutral agency had to be found. They devoted themselves to finding it. With a book of the most influential auditing agencies and the accounting firms in Japan in hand, they holed themselves up in a room for weeks trying to search a single innocent person. The accountants involved had covered their tracks with exceeding competence, but certain irregular patterns were suspicious similarly to others. Name by name, number by number, the anonymity of the accounts began to collapse, and the list of the book grew shorter and shorter. One day, Kodaira woke up early, as was his nature, and took a browse through the cross-written book in the hall, and then another, and another. He managed with great effort to keep from screaming. Every single name on the book had been crossed out. Once again, the plot thickens. Anyway, we have other things to worry about currently as well. Getting Madagascar all for ourselves. Freeing them from corrupt leaders. Shinzo gave a brief resignation speech, showing no emotion at leaving as quickly as possible. He was found in the morning dead for approximately 4 hours. He was on his side, kneeling over a shallow pool of his own blood, his hands still gripping the hilt of a very old and expensive wakizashi. Dude committed some Sudoku. Hell yeah. I know, he didn't do the crossword puzzle on his chest. He committed seppuku. I know. We've all watched anime before. Don't try to come at me in the comments. The police quickly rushed to inform his son, but they found him missing too. There was a brief panic until it was discovered that he had skipped town on a plane less than an hour after his father's body has been officially found. He was on his way to India, officially on business, in truth, because the entire world was collapsing around him. Just a few hours later, yet another heap of documents emerged. The Minazaka Corporation was now shown to have almost certainly assisted the government. Every level of power was now implicated with solid evidence. Okay. Are you the bad guys? Well, we're in Japan. Obviously, we're the bad guys. How dare I even make the joke? Take this node. We should be fine. Kodaira poured a glass of whiskey for himself and immediately drank it all down. A lesser-ranked officer poked in his head and delivered some more papers. Kodera initially tried to decline, saying to just put it on the side so they could get to it in due time, but the officer said this was different. They had just come from the Ino clique itself. That got Kodera to stand up and snatch the papers right from the officer's hands. The clique was now agreeing to cooperate with the investigation fully. Anything the team asked for, as long as it was relevant to the case, would be delivered. All they wanted in exchange was a guarantee of safety. God damn, everyone's scared. I can't guarantee your safety. I'm cruising, I'm safaring it up in Madagascar, my dude. Just chilling and vibing in here. Oh no! The verdict, the final hearing, was a miserable affair. Each one was just hour after hour of details about the truly hideous and astoundingly corrupt affairs of nearly every branch of the nation. After they were completed, the last pieces of evidence had finally been officially compiled and reviewed and were incorporated into the report. The report was titanic, large enough to make one wonder if every citizen in the empire had been accused. By the next day, literally hundreds of arrest warrants had been issued. Diet members, cabinet members, politicians, businessmen, every goddamn arrested dog for all I care. Everyone's getting arrested. The Minazaka Corporation was on the brink of collapse. There is no going back for anyone. Oh no, our GDP growth hits by 4%. Our poverty rate will rapidly worsen. Everything is just going to hell. So that's the Yasuda crisis. It's the first time I've ever seen it from this. I figured halfway through the event chain from like the last video, this is what would happen. But goddamn, pretty much our entire economy in the shitter. Yeah, it's not looking too good, buddy. We're growing by 2%. Could be worse, I guess. We could just implode. But we might not be far off from that. Wait, oh yeah. The riches continue. There is no riches to be continued, man. We are in crisis. I would say the economy is not that well, huh? Least we could do is bully Madagascar people into accepting our overlordship. I mean, cooperation and co-prosperity. In fact, I feel like we're almost there. Wait, first to report were the outposts miles ahead of the front. Oh no. This is the Philippines? Yeah, Manila. It's falling apart. When it rains, it pours indeed. Let's do this. The Philippines is not yet a hot war, right? Or is it? Can we send the volunteers in there? Yes, we can. We can actually send 3 helicopters. Good thing I made more, huh? So I'll have to go through 2 wars at the same time. At least I can send air wings in here. No? There we go. Now I can send them in. Good. While my troops arrive, I will continue with Malagasy. We should be done soon. Another one dead? Yeah, it's over, man. Come on. Ooh. I think I have to go all the way down here, right? To get their capital. And then that should be over. Done and dusted. No, the fall of Ino. The position of Ino as prime minister was a result of a tenuous compromise, resulting from an attempt to contain the influence of the Imperial Japanese army. Hirohito becomes the leader of the fascism party. The emperor's opinion of our administration will change. He doesn't like us quite as much. I guess that's understandable. We need emergency reforms. Our inflation will decrease with this. Let's try and do all of them. I didn't know we had more emergency reforms that we had to take. Oh. Yeah, we defeated the rebels. Now we just need to defeat the Germanos. Oh, my dudes just arrived. Okay, that's perfect. Let's see if I can encircle these dudes right away. Okay, so who do we want? Emergency meetings have already begun. Actually, let me also see if there's any... No, there's no reforms I can take yet. Who do we want to take over? While Japanese politics are dominated by Taisei Yokusankai, the party itself is bitterly split among numerous rival cliques. While the emperor nominates the prime minister, the Diet has a massive influence over His Majesty's decision. 2 major candidates have sprung forth from the ranks of the Taisei Yokusai, Kai Okinari and Ikeda. Kaya, formerly Minister of Finance, belongs to a faction, the Technocrats, advocating for centralization and state intervention in Japanese economy. Ikeda, on the other hand, comes from the conservative wing, much less prone. Who the hell is Kogure? You know what? Neither really speak to me. Let's get the third option. I may come to regret that decision, but that is a decision for me to regret on later. Why isn't this dude doing anything, huh? Kido suggests Kogure to resolve the political snag. An old acquaintance of Japanese politics has stepped into the limelight. Former Prime Minister of the Privy and Keeper of the Privy Seal, a staunch technocrat and Ino's predecessor, after being ousted by following his aggressive attempts to eliminate IGA. Oh, okay. This has sparked a strong reaction and might make the government even fall. Let's hope that doesn't come to that. I didn't realize we already finished this one. Keep fighting the good fight, and now back to Malagasy. The Diet threatens no confidence in Kogre. Call the Diet's bluff. We don't care. We're deep in the shit anyway. Might as well collapse all the way through. Anyway, let's go back to the Philippines. The Emperor refuses Quito, but there's a counter proposal. I wonder what it's gonna be. Aichi will be appointed Prime Minister. Aichi's biggest advantage is his failure to commit to any faction. Equally distant from every major faction. Oh no, he's too wishy-washy. Well, we don't have a choice. Uh-oh, rupture in Kolkata. That's not good. They've reached free India. There might be some moves into India from the enemy. Okay, here's Aichi has been appointed. Good for him. In the meantime, back to the Philippines, please. Where's my units? All these dudes encircled. Let's do some last standing. Hope we can get there in time. What are my allies doing? Do I have to do everything by myself? Oh, I think we won the first one. Yes. Let's go against the second one. Although, oh, they're so close to our capital. That's not good. Militare Verbal to Madagascar has been defeated. Okay, we won one at least. We no longer have to bounce between each and every one of them. Bail out struggling businesses. Sure. Any reform that we can get, we will do. Takagi's Gambit. Now, who do you want to go after? Finish off the conservatives, or do we hit the army? Hit the army. Let's hit the army. They've been a big part of the corruption scandal. Come on, we're about to encircle a massive amount. Put the blame on the army. Good. Yes. Look at that. We will weaken Kaya, because he's part of the army, right? Or the conservatives. I don't know, actually. Boys are moving in. Kaya's position will be weakened even further. There's nothing we can do against the Indian stuff, right? Because I do want India to unite under Azad Hind and not under the Republic of India. I don't want to weaken Ikeda. I want to weaken Takagi. Because I'm thinking it's the same blue as the reformist. Well, not quite. But I'm choosing to think that that's like a reformist. I got no idea if I'm right or wrong. Keep moving in, my dudes. Keep moving in. Oh, and I also just finished up editing the first video of this campaign. I threw footage down to like a slightly more than an hour. I was reading a lot of events, but it was having a good time as well. I'll be real with you. Unpleasant findings. Fired for improper levels of enthusiasm. Okay then, buddy. Yes, Takagi got weakened. How's the position looking right now? Only Ikeda is firm. It's not incredible though. Oh, Madagascar shall stand on its own 2 feet. Yeah, as long as their feet supported by Japan, they'll join our faction eventually. They should, right? If I remember correctly. Former Minister Kido could have spelled the end of the technocrat faction, but the goal of strengthening Japan's civilian government remained a tantalizing one. Okay, let's see where that leads us, huh? Takagi and Kaya will confront each other. Yes. Now you two, can we push in? No. They got an actual American unit in there. Who do you want weaken more? Let's weaken Kaya. For now. His position is threatened. Now we need to weaken Takagi again. And of course, GDP growth. Increase that shit, please. Interregnum has entered its final stage. With the outcome of the complex political gauntlet is nearly impossible to predict. With respect, the Indian people are not in a position where the militarization project can succeed or fail based on whether or not a businessman in Guangdong sneezes. This is a national struggle. Let's help them out. I'm feeling confident that India will fall to us. Or like, India will stay with us. Let's hope they don't fall, if anything. Kaya has been officially knocked out. Perfect. Now it's Ikeda versus Takagi. Ikeda has made the first move in the battle for the Prime Minister, being the most established candidate and the one with the most ties to the old leadership. Why can we get no supply from the capital? Ikeda's position is strengthened, weakened, or significantly strengthened. We will commit, but not too hard. Apparently that's the best way to go about it, okay? Sure. Let me save actually and reload, because I feel like we have another supply bug. See if we can fix it that way. Did that fix it? No. I find it strange we don't have any connection to the capital. Now Takagi will be weakened in turn, right? He's threatened. He's almost dead. We're lacking a lot of anti-air. And some transport helicopters, apparently. Alright, let's fill those up. Can we motorize our supplies a little bit more? No. And we'll significantly strengthen our position. I think that should almost be it, right? We need one final blow, and Ikeda will win the position of Prime Minister. Oh, they left this open for us. Thank you. Did not even realize. Takagi got weakened again. It's over. I have the high ground. Ikeda is significantly strengthened again. Let's do some more reforms. How much further do I have to go to finish up the Philippines, huh? The Takagi finally is done, right? Still not? The time has finally come though. The confrontation between the politicians. Let's take our rightful position, goddammit. There we go. The decision has been made. Ikeda Masanosuke has become the leader of the fascists, and the emperor likes a little bit more. During our tenure, we must take great care to maintain our position. Should our faction ever stop being dominant, or better said, largest faction in the Diet, there will be disastrous consequences. We must also take care to never drop under 50% support. If we hope to pass any of our bills and have a tenure that does not end in another government collapse, we need at least 50% support. And over 30% public approval. Jesus, okay, we're very fragile. Oh, the status, you voted for the status quo, huh? Whoops. We will go for the reformists, right? Can't believe that dark horse won out. Lay it off, Ichiro. Look, he's the only man on our block that can somehow compromise on. Plus, he's been in here for 20 years and doesn't really come with any baggage. You know what? You're probably right. I mean, he has to come to his senses and pick a faction eventually. All his talk of Taisho-era idealism would be for naught if he doesn't. Alright. Let's see if we can sneak around the US volunteers into the capital of the Philippines. Well, the current capital, I guess. Davao. I've never been to the Philippines. I heard it's a pretty cool place to visit. I'd love to go there. Cruise around in a scooter. Have some good-ass food. Though I've heard mixed things about the Filipino food. Some people say it's like incredible. Others are like, nah, disgusting. But I'm definitely down to try. There's probably some gross stuff in there and some good stuff. Kind of like every country. But so far in my experience Southeast Asia, the food is bussin'. We did it. We've also won in the Philippines. Oh yeah, I didn't even notice. Madagascar did join us. Look at our faction. Very sexy. Good morning, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be in the presence of such talented and honest individuals. He's talking to the Japanese politicians. Please do not lie. Now, moving on to our first agenda of the day, factional alliances and projecting our platform. With all due respect, Daijin, what exactly is our platform? I'm glad you asked, Hatoyama. What I envision for administration is an administration of integrity and moderation. None of that radical bull Kaya or Kido have in mind. And in order to achieve that, we can't just rely on our own. No, we've got to reach out across the aisle. And our destination is the reformists and maybe even Kido's clique. It's not going to be easy, mind you, but as long as they need us more than we need them, they'll fall in our hand. Let's improve relations with everyone, huh? Because we've been letting this slacken up a little bit. We had plenty of points. We need to improve the lives of our people. Our debt is skyrocketing. Well, not really skyrocketing. It's getting up there, though. Oh, no. More decreases? Yuck. But what about the faction that I expanded? What about my volunteers, bro? Do you not like geopolitics? Oh, can attack factions as well. That's cute. Public... What? Public support increases somewhat. 3%? That's something. We need to be above 30, so... Ideally, I'd like to get up to 50. Assassination of Yosei Yulo. Despotism party rules in the Philippines. Is that good or bad, though, for us? They're still in our faction for now. 3 days later. I leave you incompetent fools for 3 days and everything turned to horseshit already. Your Excellency, I can assure you everything's under control. Speaker Aquino's already mustering the delegates as we speak. The assembly will convene tomorrow at the latest to choose Mr. Yulo's successor. If I had my way, then there would be no assembly to speak of. But the Emperor's writ supersedes my own. You shall have your elections for all the good it will do. And now we need to rebuild the Philippines. I guess to keep them fully under our control. We'll promote Philippine democracy because that doesn't cost us money mostly. Improve our construction by 10%. That's not that much. Reformists increase in power and the relations. Okay, that's good. Oh no. More hard times. Barely pulling himself together, Mr. Nakamura crawled out of the darkness of the hallway shadows into the living room to embrace his daughter and kiss his wife. He held them tightly, knowing that they were all he had left in this world. It's been a bad day at work. Ugh. We will support Quentin Paredes securing our interest. Yes, very important. And expand business ideas because we will get more decisions. Once more, they've come to ask our stuff. You know what? Sure, send some stuff to India. Adolf Hitler's died. That's not so good for the Germans. Can't wait for the 69 millionth civil war. It's surprising we can't really intervene. You'd think we would be able to. Press this someone, and I hope I'm successful. Okay, that's 40%. That's an insane number. Kanye wandered the streets at night, hauling around his fabric suitcase, bursting at the seams with all his personal belongings he had not already dumped by the side of the road. He had just been evicted from the youth hostel he stayed at. The little money he had left after being made redundant in the recent economic turmoil could no longer afford him a place to stay. He was young, only 20 years of age, and roamed the dark avenues of the capital in search of a quiet corner to sleep. Afraid and alone, he sniffled and wiped his glossy eyes with his soaked fingers as he stumbled down dirtier routes for somewhere dry. He found a back alley, packed in with metal waste disposal units and damp newspapers. I will be forgotten. Damn, that is so sad, man. I hope we can fix our situation. That's one of the reasons I like the reformist paths, because I want to fix the horrendous lives that is like the life of an average TNO universe enjoyer. Let's do minimum wage reform as well. We'll improve our poverty rate, because it's... How bad is it these days? It's actually not that bad. It's rising, but not by much. And there's that German civil war. You guys enjoy it, my dudes. You guys enjoy it. Wait, Malagasy uprising, we lost? Malayan emerge... Eh? Ah, that makes way more sense. I was like, wait, are we ass? No, we're not. But yeah, civil war popped off. Hey, I'm really surprised. I feel like we should be able to intervene, no? Prime Minister, you have the floor. A very good afternoon to the House of Representatives. The House of Peers has given me the special opportunity to give this speech on a suspicious day. Auspicious, my bad. Which I thank them for deeply. Now, you may be wondering what the platform of this administration is, and how different it will be from the TNO administration. Moving forth, I seek to guide my administration by these principles: integrity and moderation. Our nation is fundamentally great, and our position could never be more secure. But we have to always take note of the changing tides of the world. Like my colleagues among Admiral Takagi's reformists, I do believe Japan's constant need for reform and advancement to keep our place in the sun. But above all, I seek to run a clean and honest administration. Ino was a fool. He was rightfully disgraced as one. Some of you are still loyal to Ino's path, and I would not chide you for that. But this administration shall be honest and purged from corruption. With that, I end my speech and cede my time back to the speaker. Okay. Silence echoed. A lot of food for thought. Thought for food. Damn it. The office room buzzed and churned as it usually did. Papers were shuffled to and fro. Office regulars sat lazily at their desk, pecking at keyboards, pretending to be hard at work. Now this story could not be... news clippings were scattered here and there, though everyone seemed to ignore the sections documenting the poor poising state of the stock market. Now this story could not be further from reality. Countless corporate buildings had fallen to chaos after the Yasuda crash, with law enforcement regularly patrolling the fallout of street skirmishes between security and redundant employees. Within the offices, the shattered shards of glass cabinets skidded across the carpeted floors as employees broke into the gases to prize off trophies they could get their hands off. Careers make monsters of men. Yeah, it's not looking good for Japan right now. At least we're not Germany. They seem to be having a bad time currently. South African War. Now, can we join that? Not yet. We might not be able to, actually. It would be nice if we could get Africa to be a part of our faction, but I don't think that's possible. The British Civil War, too. Ooh. I'd love to get you in my faction as well, buddy. The economy as well, they say. I don't believe that, though. We need to implement some more. Our inflation... Yeah, we need to. Sorry. Reduce military spending. We cannot right now. Damn it, no. Shh, my little bun. Please, try to sleep for mommy. In the darkness of the night, a young mother rocked her crying baby in her small apartment, frantically trying to get it to sleep. She rubbed his fingers, tickled his belly, and sang him lullabies, but nothing would silence the wailing baby. Her husband, who was strangely not home at such late hours, had recently lost his job and in the en masse layoffs of employees working for the corporations, struggling to survive the economic crisis, and could provide very little amounts of money for his family to survive off of each day. As a result, the baby was hungry, but there was not enough food in the house to feed him. Her untucked breast was sore and chafed in a last-ditch attempt hours ago to feed her son, but to no avail. She could not provide the breast milk for her baby. Quiet little one, mommy is here. So sad, man. Oh, it was successful. Perfect. We're at 70%. Even more? Mortgage default rates skyrocket. Banks have begun to fail as loans could not be repaid. It's horrible. It's 2008 all over again. But I feel like it's probably a lot worse in this universe, huh? 80. Now let's get 20 more percent. Right near. There we go. In 20 days, construction will be over. We have 50 days to spare even. Let's see how the house is going to get reshuffled. We're going to lose a lot of MP support. It wasn't that much, actually. It was actually very decent. We did lose some public and House of Peer support. Luckily, it increases by 5 in here, because we are close to the edge. Please, a few coins. I just need to get home, please. The crowd formed, whispering between themselves about the humiliating sight in front of him. A porky businessman, no doubt, fresh from the stock market floors. With a snap of his fingers, it was gone. A lifetime of investments and build-up from speculation all vanished in an instant, and with it gone, the man had no choice but to display his shame to thousands for a few coins. The young man with fire bellowing in his eyes stepped forward and whispered, "No." He then spat onto the businessman's forehead, and with that the crowd dispersed for the trains. Dejected, the spit joined his sweat. Public approval decreases by... Ooh, but I'd left privatize. We need more public approval. There we go. Bumped it up a little bit. And launch maybe a propaganda campaign. Oh, can we not? Probably not. Our stability also needs to increase because we're not in a great position. Oh yeah, declare the reconstruction complete. Forgot to do that. Whoops. With the Philippines slowly returning to stability, we will obtain resource rights to all resources across the islands. Damn. Oh, motherfuckers are paranoid. Let's bump that down a little bit, eh? Slightly increases military training. Sure. Let's also improve support from the IJA so that they're more equal. That way, paranoia doesn't increase as much. There we go. Now that there's only less than a week before Pope's execution, Americans have finally caved under pressure. They now offer to de-escalate their support for rebel elements within the Republic of Indonesia, as well as a significant amount of ransom to go into the Republic's coffers. An official apology will also be issued. Yeah, accept the deal. I'm not gonna risk it. Uh-oh. Okay. American tension decreases with us down to 60%. And I'm pretty sure we won that engagement. I don't think that's an official geopolitical event, but we certainly got some good concession out of it. Conservatives increased their power again. Good. Well, actually, let's go for the Electoral Diet. Reform Act from the Diet. We will keep going with the reformists and promise a civilian government. We only have like 3 reforms left. How's our public? It's okay. We can afford this bump. Reduce regulations. Alright, both military factions are more or less equal in support. That should keep paranoia down a little bit. Speer 1. Interesting. I wonder what that will look like for us. Get the Speer hoodies out already. German intervention in Africa. Is it really gonna be worth it though? Good luck, buddy. Emphasize popular representation. We are gonna become a democracy. Or something like that. I don't know, man. Public approval decrease again. We gotta be careful. German resource control. Ugh. We want our rival to be weak. No, we only have 61% of the 50% needed. Which will become universal voting. Yeah, look at that. Germany is back on the menu. The government prevails in the UK. Ooh. They couldn't manage to escape, sadly. The Iron Hats Pact is really beefing itself up again. I think we need... Oh, no, we don't need one more reform. I think we're done with the reforms. Excuse me, the emergency reforms at least. And with this, we are about to pass our first bill. On to the next bill indeed. So far, everything's been going smoothly for Japan. Our economy, atrocious. Our debt, skyrocketing. But at least we are great at geopolitics. Who needs a living wage when you can just grow the pact? And we start off right again with another vote. Parliamentary powers. We will become more and more democratic once again. Akiyoshi Toshiko's mellow jazz piano plays in the background of the Prime Minister's office. So, what do you think? That's not the way I would have done it, but I'm impressed, said Hatoyama, with a slight tone of appreciation, or approval rather. Believe me, Ichiro, I'm honestly almost sick of tea and golf, but for the sake of our administration and our careers, I think I can go for another round of both. So, what now, Ikeda? Next time we meet, we're gonna have a discussion. We're gonna have to discuss surging the diet.
The old families are breathing down our necks for God's sake. They want their corporate relief, and they want it fast. Not to mention, there's Kishi left to deal with. There's Kishi left to deal with. Well, that's a topic for another day. Thank you for the supper, Ikeda. I owe you one for next Friday. Let's hope our ploy holds. I think we should have more than enough. 61%. Something tells me we are Gucci. Now we can improve our situation again. Support of the Diet will, support of the House of Peers will increase. Administrative efficiency will improve. Political parties will improve. Penal system will improve. And we get power, as well as the reformists. Okay, that should also stabilize our economy, right? Our political system. We're at 81 stability. We are the largest party, although equal to the reformists. We need to grow, embellish accomplishments as well. We need to get bigger than the reformists and stay bigger. Oh, we cannot increase these things until the bill is passed. Okay, but like I said, shouldn't be a problem. We got more than 10% in excess. It does also seem like the OFN is winning against the Reichspakt. Good for them, I guess. Doesn't matter to us. And we're about to pass our diet. It passes indeed. And we'll most likely lose some of our seats because of it. No, we're at 66. We actually improved. Okay. Let's improve relations with some of the factions that we have poor relations with, right? So, what now, Ikeda? You've beaten back the nobles and the elites. How are you feeling about wrangling the diet? Well, Hatoyama, it was hard, but you just have to know when you make the right promises and when to break them. I'm sure you'll do fine, but the House of Representatives is another story. I'm too old to keep up with what goes on. Hell, I've been in the Diet longer than the bashful Takagi was even in the Navy. Experience doesn't merely come in years, Hatoyama. It's what you do with those years. Alright, we're getting kind of a thick neck, big head. That's okay. We will get power, but our relations with everyone decreases. I mean, good thing we're improving relations with everyone then. Conservatives. And let's also improve with the Kido. Yeah, there we go. Actually, just straight up with everyone. Kennedy got assassinated. That's not good for America. Not too bad for us. Damn it. Game spoiled. Paranoia increases somewhat. They're still equal-ish. Let's press this button again. Decrease paranoia. Let's press both of them, actually. We're almost at 100 stability for our government as well. 164 seats. We're gonna get even more with this play. Though most likely we'll lose a bit of stability in the process. When Hatoyama Ichiro walked into the Prime Minister's office, he knows right away that time has come for them to go on the attack. It's hard to say what makes him realize this. Maybe it's the sense of tension in the air, so thick that Hatoyama could practically feel it in his ancient bones. Maybe it's a gleam in Ikeda's eye, signaling that his legendary fury ire is about to be unleashed. Whatever the reason, Hatoyama finds himself utterly unsurprised when Ikeda says it's time to discuss our next target. We'll have to choose our play with care. You know as well as I do how precarious your position is. I understand your desire to permanently defeat your opposition, but if you damage your own supporters in such a maneuver, it could spell the end of your ministry. Don't remind me, Ikeda mutters. A focused strike then, not an attack against the whole faction. Some sort of targeted scheme, meant to diminish the influence of a few key figures. Take out the foundation, and collapse the whole damn rotten structure. Where have I heard that one before? Let's improve our position, although we will lose some minimum wage and industrial regulations. Support? I don't know how I feel about that. Oh no! Fire when ready. It didn't bear reading. They had tried to reanimate a Colossus only to see it crumble underneath its own weight. Blame was endemic. There was no part of the machinery that escaped harsh critique. Poor communication, lack of familiarity with modern tech, overwrought planning, inflexibility, abuse of command, political appointment, on and on. Fundamental tactics were unable to be executed, let alone newer concepts. That bastard Ino really let these imbeciles do whatever they wished. And now Japan itself is critically vulnerable. Anyone not willing to adhere to our vision, to my vision now, they are cut out. A rare emotive outburst from Ikeda, known for his even keel and finesse. We need to fix this. The legitimacy of this administration hangs on its ability to change Japan for the better. To fulfill this duty, we will begin an army reform program. You may see actions related to it in the decisions menu. Rentokuen 43 is 4 years away. It would be best if it does not catch us unprepared. Okay, reform, you motherfucker, basically. Or else. Let's do this one. Let's just do all of them. There we go. I've done all of them. Is that it? Is my army all powerful now? How many seats are there in total? I feel like we're closing in on almost half. We need to cannibalize one party or something and it'll be over. Well, except for the Kidoites, because they have no one. Ikeda can practically smell the fear in the air. He had been meeting all day with representatives of the Zaibatsu, from the VIP envoys of the Big Four to the minor functionaries of their lesser counterparts. It's no wonder, really, with an economic crisis raging and their technocrat enemies gaining influence in the Diet, it's only natural that the Zaibatsu would turn to Ikeda and his faction for support. But what does come to as a surprise is the urgency with which they plead for the conservatives to take action. Some of the requests have been phrased almost as demands, brazen enough to shock even Hatoyama, with his decades of experience in politics. Things must be worse than Ikeda thought if the Zaibatsu were getting this desperate. Our interests won't clash, well, unless they do. We'll see. Another small we're gonna keep pressing any one of them that comes in here. Look at that. The OFN is victorious, actually. And unlike in my campaign, they formed separate mandates. Because apparently, oh, never mind. They're gonna do the same mistake that I did. Whoops. I was about to praise AI for not being as dumb as I was. Oh, we need Air Force experience. Fair enough, we don't have enough just yet. And that is okay. Unacceptable. Sato Eisasu's exclamation echoes even in the small confines of the meeting room. Ikeda, by contrast, was deceptively calm. Choose your next words very carefully, Minister Sato. Sato seems to realize he's overstepped and he shrinks back a little bit. You must do this, Eisako. I understand that you and Kishi are close, but there is simply too much at stake to let the technocrats go unchecked. The Prime Minister understands this, which is why he's decided to accept my suggestion to put Kishi under arrest. You know my misgivings have never stopped me from standing by either of you before. But this is different. Attacking Kishi is a bridge too far. I'm surprised you'd even consider asking me to support you against my own brother. What a plot twist. This really is a Japanese drama indeed. I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm telling you what will happen. Your options are to accept it or to no longer be a member of this cabinet. Sato generally considers the second of those options for a moment, but his own position in the Diet has always been precarious, thanks in large part to the very brother Ikeda is now proposing to attack. Even if he defects to another faction, he'll be distrusted and sidelined there, unable to make nearly as much of a difference as he does in Ikeda's cabinet. He knows all this, and Ikeda knows he knows this. With a defeated sigh, Sato slumps back into his seat. Fine, but the least you can do is not make me a part of your plans for Kishi. It's bad enough that I'll have to sit by while you target him. Don't make me stab my own family in the back as well. Your assistance won't be necessary. It's not exactly a reassurance, but he offers it all the same. Now let's continue on with the strategic purges. Kishi Nobusuke is intimately familiar with the workings of secret police forces. After all, his iron-fisted rule over Manchuria could not have been maintained without one. And when stripped down to their bare essentials, he sees little difference between the Toko and the Yakuza gangsters he recruited to keep the Chinese in line. Both have their formalities, rank structures, wages, specialties in various fields, but in the end, the function of both had to do only with power. Which is why he's not as surprised as one might expect when the Toko officers knock down his door. As the cuffs are slapped on his wrist, he gives the thought police a glare he perfected for use on Chinese laborers and peasants. It's a look that conveys to the recipient that Kishi thinks they're the lowest of the low. He looks at them like there's something he scraped off his boot. Does Ikeda really think this will stop me? They don't reply. In fact, they don't react at all. Kishi is not in Manchukuo anymore, where his word was law. He is arrested. He will drop the soap for eternity. Actually, let's train our helicopters, right? We do need a lot more transports for our helicopter units. I did not realize we need that much. Don't keep clicking away at all of these, please. The Indonesians did what? Sukarno's declared martial law prime minister. Curfews are in place without valid documents. No declaration of martial law. Not the declaration of nationalization of Japanese assets. Did the ministry get any indication this was going to happen? None at all. We're getting the embassy to confirm the details immediately. They'd better. I have a meeting with Mitsubishi and Mitsui executive this afternoon. Yeah, they're gonna rebel. Don't worry, I'll put them down, as I have everyone else before me. I suppose this means it's time, Hatoyama asks. Indeed, it is. We're already decided which faction to focus our efforts on. Now it's just a matter of who among them to purge. You seem oddly excited about this. Even more than you were when you decided to go on the offensive in the first place. Well, can you blame me? Ikeda looks up from his work to address his right-hand man. It feels good sometimes to be able to make demands and throw my weight around, rather than walking on eggshells to avoid breaking the great compromise that created this ministry. I suppose I can't. But just because it makes you feel good doesn't obviate the need for caution and prudence. Yes, I know. So let us plan how to cautiously and prudently purge our enemies from the diet. It wouldn't be 20th century Japanese politics, of course, without some good old backstabbing. Our economy will be industrialized, more decentralized. Okay, sure, I guess. We will slightly increase security and political parties. Okay. Tell the Indonesian ambassador I'll see him now. After being admitted to the Prime Minister's officer, the ambassador was kept standing at attention for a minute longer. If the ambassador was showing any indication of being annoyed at being kept waiting, he was smart enough not to show it. What can I do for you, ambassador? Despite our president's decision to nationalize industries in the name of the Indonesian Revolution, we wanted to assure the Empire of Japan that we will continue to remain committed to the cause of Pan-Asian solidarity. But if Indonesia is to serve as the southern bulwark against the Imperials in Australia, we must revisit our defense cooperation agreements, especially with our internal situation is so tense as to require martial law. We strengthen the position at the cost of approval. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. We're starting to teeter with the House of Representatives a little bit. Large gear, there we go. To this one again. How's the support looking in here? Okay, it's not bad. Well, what do we do? They're repeating their request, sir. Crest, yes, allow them on board. And tell the crew to make sure everything is hidden properly. These Australians really thought they were pulling something off. Flying an Indian flag. Well, you know what to do. More orders were exchanged, and fairly soon a small Indonesian boarding party was on the Australians' deck. Sir, we found it. Found what? He strode to the room. As he strode to the room, the shout had originated from. Fairly soon, he was in the galley, where one of his men had shunted aside the icebox and opened a loose panel on the wall. There were firearms, OFN firearms. Tell the men to take the crew prisoner. And let's escalate for another global conflict. I love global conflicts. I do like fighting for influence with these global conflicts. It's so much fun. I wish there were more. Contact the Australians and demand they stand down. Yeah, we'll be aggressive about it. They refuse. Send in the Navy. Stop training our dudes. They'll get trained on the field. Peace purchases cost. Ah, damn it. Our free government of the Republic of Indonesia. Damn. Is that our faction mostly? The Republic of Indonesia opposition forces are weakened. That's also good, right? Oh, House of Peers not looking too good these days. We need to launch a propaganda campaign as soon as we can. 25 political parties. Yes, very important. This in turn will allow me to launch a propaganda campaign. Bumping it up slightly. 57.5, still not great, but we're not at the edge. Let's do some strengthening the yen block, as our poverty rate is still increasing, right? By 4%, that's not great. The hell is Gainy? Okay. How Gainy are you, though? Warrior priests. Milton Shepherd, that's pretty cool. I love the mustache, too. There's the Indonesian war. Where's our page? We don't have a page yet, but we will soon enough. It does probably pay to slow down the game a little bit. Oh, Republic, when did that happen? But we lost them? I don't know how to not do that, though. Send surplus. Can I join the war? No, not yet. It's currently insurgency. The streets of Jakarta were still with an unease, fearful calm as the Japanese motorcade drove past multiple checkpoints. Sukarno had never been a man generous with his trust, but this, he seemed calmer than the soldiers outside. It's too late to be jumping at shadows, Kawashima. Now I have to clean up the mess that's left. I sympathize. Give me a list of whatever you need, and I'll make sure it gets back to the highest levels in Tokyo. Everything, Sukarno said, his gaze hardening. What do we get in there? Inflation increases, GDP growth increases. Well, everyone's GDP growth increases. We have 57, which is okay. And our government stability with that should be increasing to 100% actually. Damn. And public approval will increase and poverty rate will slowly begin to improve. That's good. An interesting message has found its way to our government from Madrid. Riddled with minor errors, endlessly verbosity, and seems to try to say the same message repeatedly. Phrased more like a legal document than a communication, it gives the impression that the writer cared more about closing up any potential loopholes as opposed to just giving a message. Whatever the motivations, the message itself is still legible, remarkably. Indonesia has imprisoned the garrison of the former Portuguese holding in Timor, which we liberated on our march southwards, and Iberia wants them back. We have been redirected to from our client state because allegedly we control their prisoner management. Ignoring that this isn't true, for the sake of maintaining our honorable reputation, they'll need to be given a response. Yeah, send them home. You may have them. I have no use for them anymore. They kept screaming about wanting to see their family. Haven't seen them in 10 years. Well, more like 20 at this point, but you get what I mean. They were a bit of a downer. Protect Japanese installations? Yeah, why not? We're so close to our escalation. Send some more guns, because why not? Bill pass? Of course it passes. 100% stability. Dude, we are incredibly powerful. Let's do some corporate relief. Actually, what's the situation looking like? It's looking good. Let's pass the bill. Let's pass the next bill. Lobby. Once again. There we go. The weekliest. We'll be able to send one more volunteer. Perfect. I do want to say send more. As many as I can, really. The war hasn't started yet, but it will soon. Democracy returns. Interesting. Oh, that means they might decide between going to the OFN or to us. Unlike India, who abandoned us. I don't know how this works, the Indian one. Because we don't really get any events. Well, we do get to give guns to our boy. But I don't know if it's successful or not. Because there's no global conflict thing. They just said, peace out, and left us. Expand the Japanese military mission. Oh, I do want to reestablish the 1A program. It should increase our GDP growth. Still have 57 out of everyone voting for us. Government stability is at 100%. Oh yeah, it's very much gamer time. And a small parade gives us political power again. Yeah, reestablish this. It should increase our GDP growth. What's our growth percentage? 3.5. That's okay. Uh-oh. South American nation of Colombia. Once again, 2 for the price of 1. Is the war hot or not yet? No, not yet. I'm guessing Gilberto is the one that we will get to support. And I think, yes, another bill has passed. GDP growth by 0.5%. Public approval, I didn't even realize. Oh no, it's okay. We're still above 30, so apply some more battlefield lessons again. Increase our GDP by 1%. Ooh, yes. Go for that, please. We're out of political power. God damn it. So close to escalating once again. We just need more points to take more decisions. Oh, there it is. The war has popped off. Sent how many units? 3. Great. And 3 air wings, so that's an amount. And there's our beautiful fighters. Our volunteers are still in transfer, which is fine. Where's our dudes? There they are. Ow. Okay, well, in that case, get in here, please. This war shouldn't be too difficult now, should it? Look at this, we're crushing them. That's 1 dealt with already. Go a little bit more up north and transfer our airplanes in here. We're just melting them again. Bye-bye. This welfare package will be significantly more expensive but offer greater benefits. Maybe. I'll do them later. For now, let's go for necessary evil. Keep going, my dudes. Get a planning bonus going, eh? We need it against the Americans. Against the rest, not so much. Look at that, we're about to encircle, like, what, 3 units? It ended up becoming just 1, but that's okay. We're about to encircle the rest instead. Look at that. Goodbye, my sweet prince. You will be missed. The Free Government of the Republic of Indonesia's Military Council, also dead. Actually, help out in here, maybe. Dead. Next up north in here. We'll go straight into the capital, and most likely finish him off with that. Ikeda sat in his office and tapped his finger on the dark wooden desk, thinking deeply about his position in the Diet. Taking off his glasses and pinching his nose, he pondered over the thought of making an alliance in the chamber to strengthen his control over the legislature. The Kidoit were his first thought. They were professional career politicians, well rehearsed in legal codes and drafting bills that navigated legal constraints. They had the expertise that Ikeda lacked, and with them on board, his government can stand in a far stronger position. After rubbing his eyes and sighing heavily, Ikeda was stuck with another idea, the Taka guides. They were motivated to legislate and notably pragmatic, perfect for his own agendas in the Diet. Where they lacked experience, they made up for it in determination. Moreover, their vulnerable position could benefit the Prime Minister, as he began to wonder if he could strong-arm their votes for his bills. Let's go with the Admiral knows best. And we're about to get the capital. That should finish these guys off, right? It did. It's mostly in here that we're left. Let's send our boys in to support us. And don't forget our airplanes. We can send 5 in now. Now that's interesting. I'm not going to send them in because I'm lazy and we have plenty in here. There we go. My troops have arrived. Ready for war. And it's going really well actually. Goddamn. Chinese request to give them what they ask for, modern equipment. They will not be able to break free. This should be it, right? Although we do need to take Palapo eventually. Oh, it was taken. Never mind. Now all the way like this, I guess. Calling the Admiral. Our relations with the reformists will increase. And we get some political power. Sure, why not? A nice little bonus. Ooh, administrative efficiency got increased. That's great. Help us out a ton, I think, right? Yeah. An offer from Rome. There it is. A golden opportunity to bring Italy into our sphere. It's time for us to save up some political power. Because we'll need a lot of it in there. And the Americans are also interested in Italy. Get some extra political power out of the reforms again. Exile the what? Oh no, the National Protection Army. Whoops. China, you better get your shit together in there. Well, we've reached the capital, right? That should be it. Even more. Nice. Anyway, let's get some generous stopgaps. It'll be expensive. But I think... Oh, there it is. Invest diplomats in Italy. Sure. Let's start off with minimal investments, huh? Oh, they're not done yet? Okay, I guess we'll have to go even further. There we go. Now we got order in Indonesia. Approval through the roof as usual. I think we have pretty much half of the Imperial Diet under our control. Significantly decrease American influence. Increase our influence. Yeah. There we go. Significantly decrease independence. Of course. Keep pressing those buttons. They will get to us. Although it's taken a while. And when can we fight in Colombia already? With the Philippines pretty much stabilized and rebuilt, and the Colombian War not yet popped off, we can actually focus on the Italians for once. I would like to get them under my wing. I've invested the max that I can into the issues of Italy. Because right now, they've invested max for Italian independence, so they're going to get that. But if I'm lucky, they're very close towards my triangle. We should be able to get a max issue next time around. And once again, improve poverty rates. What's it like right now? 0.03% increase. We're stabilizing a little bit. Italy chooses her future by themselves. Okay, fair enough. Let's see about a medium level of investment, huh? Significantly decrease their independence. Might be too difficult, actually. Oh, I didn't realize. House of Peers is very close. Okay, this bill will pass, but it's relatively close, actually. Gotta be careful of that. But I can't afford to do anything else right now. I want to focus on Italy. Uh-oh. Decisions for material for China. I mean, we can definitely support them, I think. But I'm guessing that only happens when the war actually pops off. Japan does indeed win the issue. Conservative power decreases further. We will also lose support of the House of Peers, but we got a slight buffer. Oh, political power decreased. We cannot afford that. Yeah, we're doing another diet. We'll have to wait a little bit more. Can we afford this? Barely. Oh, Japan still wins the issue. Luckily, we didn't have to spend as many points this time around. Well, not like we had much of a choice. Okay, we have enough MP support, but also enough House of Peers support. So this bill should pass. I do feel like Italy will fall to us. Or rather, they will join us in holy matrimony. War burns on the southwestern horizon where the rims of the Chinese world ends. The politicians, diplomats, and media have collectively decided to dub this conflict the Western Insurrection. The Gao cabinet has refused any attempts from Japan to mediate the crisis, seeking to prove their mettle on the battlefield. Word from Nanjing travels like whispers through the Japanese tent. We do not wish to burn the Japanese government, it says, a tone tinged by the tone of terror and excitement. Chinese matters need to stay Chinese matters. With the Japanese diplomatic efforts rebuffed, the government cannot pursue the course of action for now. We will send them guns as well, eh? They're instantly winning already. So, Long Yun sadly will not last too long. Look at our poverty rate is decreasing finally. Can scarcely afford to decrease in House of Peers. We need to bump it up eventually. Because it's going to go down by 2.5. Ugh. At least our stability is high. Attempts at reforms of national mobilization law. Ikeda sat in a boardroom surrounded by his cabinet, and with their desperate attention, he declared his intention to reform the national mobilization law. Yoshio, struck by the move, made his confusion clear and expressed his doubts over how the government could move such a monumental and concrete law passed by the Konoe era. A similar doubt proliferated between his men, much to Ikeda's frustration. They all grew concerned looks on their faces. It's gonna be difficult. We need those political powers. At least we're slowly buying back our political power. Oh, another win for us. Although that one was a minimal issue, right? I wouldn't be able to help. No, I cannot send any volunteers, sadly. Let's do this. Let's keep buying them down. We gotta get them completely into our sphere. This will give us some political power as well. Very important. So that we can keep wasting it on Italy. Well, waste is maybe a strong word. I'm very much looking forward to them being red-colored. More political power. Thank you. Some of it we'll also spend on China, because I do want them to win as quickly as possible against Long Yun. This should be another issue for us, right? And I think we no longer we won. I think we no longer really need to invest in diplomats either. Well, any additional diplomats, I mean. Oh, never mind, we won. It is beautiful. Look at this. A Japanese Italy. What is this? Red Flood? And in the meantime, it also seems like China is winning. Long Yun is getting pushed back hard. Yeah, it's over. It's over. Who the hell is Ust? What are you? Huh. That's the first time I've seen them as a unifier. And Militärbezirk Russland? Okay. More political power. Do we need to increase this? I don't think so, right? We've got great relations. We've got a lot of MPs. We might need to spend some on, well, this for one. And this. There we go. They're more equal now. Paranoia is pretty low-ish. And China has been fixed. I don't know why they're in the Chinese league still, but they should be absorbed by China proper eventually. Oh, I'm stuck. We only have diet focuses. Fair enough. Now I'm stuck with my focus tree until we pass all the bills. Ibuka, I have to say, we have all noted the benefits of your progress you have brought. Your claims of extravagant productivity increases seem to be well founded. The government can believe it can make a deal with you. I'm glad you've come around, Ibuka replied. Fujitsu is, as always, eager to serve. I believe you have already received the necessary papers. Okay, so Ibuka is in charge of Guangdong, which means good profits usually, but less so human rights. That is 50 out of 50. We're just barely eking out with the support of the peers, or with the House of the Peers. Let's increase it slightly. Oh, 2 more volunteers? Yeah, it's finally popped off. Which one's mine again? I think New Granada, right? We can currently only send 3. Send some advisors. There we go. Oh, and if we have political power, I can actually make an airbase. Well, while we wait for our troops to arrive in there, we're still gathering a political power, so we shouldn't have to wait too long then. They've arrived just in time for us to build the air bases. Hopefully I can send 3 stacks. Let's slow down time as well, right? In 30 days. Not yet. Not yet. We were still winning handedly. I do see an airport that's under our control. We should be able to send some in, right? I don't know why we can't. We did select that, right? Yeah, there's plenty of airports. Oh no, that's Ecuador. Let's see if I can get to Cartagena. Get these, whatever the hell they're called. Who is this? Second Patriotic Army. Let's get them out as well. That'd be one less thing to deal with. Because this is their only core territory, right? Everything else is conquered. We can even get an encirclement going in here. Ooh. Very nice. There we go. We got Cartagena. Let's get to the capital. That should be it. Right? Yes, it was. The diet has indeed passed. How's our support? It's okay. Reformers are getting ground. I want another propaganda campaign. Let's go to Bogota. That should be fine. Extra political power that will allow us to get the propaganda campaign. In 2 days, we'll get the airport. But honestly, we don't even need it. Yeah, look. We've finished off a second guy. Let's quickly take some of these VPs, eh? Before they realize what's going on. Oh, there's our third guy. Okay, move in, move in. The lovely little encirclement as well. Ooh. This is going extremely well so far. No, still not willing to die. Quite annoying. Let's keep going further then. Until they are willing to die. Oh, it's a US troop in there, huh? I see how it is. Let's get a little planning bonus in, eh? against that US troop. Should be able to crush them completely decisively. Alright, attack. Ooh, yeah, that's good. That is very good. Now let's continue with the liberalization. How's the diet looking? We should definitely be able to pass it easily. I think the Rentokuan, where we've been handling it pretty well, that should also go according to plan. Now this New Granada should win, right? We still have to go all the way down here. Are you kidding me? Okay. They really refuse to give up, huh? Never mind. There we go. We won. Finally. Obviously, they most likely won't join us. The US would never allow that. But still, I don't want to see the economic sphere. That's our sphere, right? The economic sphere. Not bad. Not bad at all. I don't know why the Italians have their own economic sphere, considering they joined us. But I guess they're technically still a power. Not so much a great one, but they do definitely exist. They're one of the nations of all time. I think we've so far won every single one of our conflicts, right? Geopolitically. Yeah, look at this. It's a peaceful... The only thing I have is a stalemate for the peaceful Indian reunification. We didn't win that one. They just left our faction, sadly. And I still don't know how that works. How are the armies looking? Oh. And here we go. Another one of the diets passed. On to the next one, eh? Our economy is still... You know what? I'm going to click military austerity and civilian austerity as well. To bump down our deficit slightly. We're saving up political power at this point again. Just in case we need it in the future. Which most likely we will. Damn it, we lost the majority. We need to increase our power. Press this one. And press this one. There we go. Stability is back to 100. That was a bit harrowing, but we did it. Public approval will increase even further. Poverty will decrease even further. Public approval is great. That's the House of Peers that's kind of sucky sometimes. And yeah, this bill should pass as well. We have just intercepted a message from East Siberia. The warlord there has denounced us. What does that asshole Rodzavsky want now? Rodzavsky is dead. He was killed some time ago. You're kidding me. Did some other white movement warlord take him out? The white movement went down as well. Monarchists and the other fascists got wiped out as well. Well, who's in charge then? That one father person I've heard about? Nobody's heard of Yagoda for a while. And that father person went quite a while back with little explanation. This warlord, has he declared war on us yet? Well, no sir, but... Well then let me know when they do. It's best to ignore whatever is going up on there until it actually affects us. I wouldn't mind invading them. And getting another puppet. Ah, they got Sablin. Let's train up all of our helicopter units. Do we need to make some more? Or maybe beef them up a little bit, huh? Yeah, we can make it like a beefy 40 with. Fuck it. Why not? We got the power. We only can usually send in a handful of dudes anyway. The diet passes the bill again. The poverty rate increases. Well, it improves, rather. Agriculture improves. We get some power, some stability. Ooh, boy. Life is bussin', as the youth would say. Our Beef Boy helicopter units are getting trained up properly again while they're being reinforced. But it should take us a while before we get our next, foreign policy. Look at that, minus 0.15% poverty rate. That's great. We've empowered the conservatives again. They almost have 200 seats. And fuck it, improve relations with everyone. African Republic is falling apart. Ooh, that's great. So much for the OFN, huh? But I'm guessing, yeah, we cannot get involved. In here, more improvement for poverty rate, public support, GDP growth of 1%. That's actually great. We're growing by 6%. Our interest rate is only 1.5. Okay, I like it. I like it. Our economy is improving. And in a year and a half, we will finally figure out how our army is looking. I do think it's going to be fine. A coup in Colombia. Sidelighting the fascists. As long as you stay in my sphere, motherfucker. I feel like by the end of the campaign, we might have more score than both the other great power spheres combined. Our weak point is economy. They're going above 200 seats. The conservatives rule the diet. Get some better anti-tank stuff. Replace it. Should get some better anti-air stuff soon too. And better guns. Central African Republic has defeated someone? Okay. That's surprising. They might actually be winning. Yeah, they're defeating everyone. What the hell? Why didn't they do that when I was in charge of the US? For the past few months, the conservatives and reformers have coordinated to form a consolidated policy on the economic and social issues. In a surprising turn of event, these reforms gained ground among the Japanese populace, uniting the old and the young alike in support of the fledgling government. Long gone were the days of where the public distrusted the diet under Ino. Yeah, we're making Japan a better place. Hopefully. We'll still go tits up easily. But for now, we're doing good. We're doing great. Oh, an American illusion. Two men sat in the lobby of the foreign ministry building early in the morning in a day that promised to be busy. Fake, Tashiro said, unimpressed as he put the newspaper down. A show put on by the Americans. Sachi wasn't so sure. When he'd seen news of Jamaica's independence referendum from the West Indies Federation, he'd been skeptical of the intention behind it, until he looked at the reasons behind it. The constitutional change in the Federation is unpopular in Jamaica. Supposedly, it's what triggered this in the first place. And that changes what I said? When it gets defeated, it's paraded around the OFN. This is irritatingly transparent. Do you think the Americans would let this happen if they weren't sure it would fail? Not really. However, there is a chance it could be. Bustamante appears legitimate, and the grievance is real. I wouldn't say this should be dismissed. Take this from someone who's been in this and watched the American policy for years now. Let's assume this is real. Do you think the Americans will be idle? They'll rig the votes, smuggle in cash, and assassinate troublemakers before they let Jamaica leave the Federation. This is not speculation. That is a fact. The Americans play dirty, believe me. I'd like to be proven wrong, but I'm not. Don't get your hopes up. Or that we'll get involved either. But what if it succeeded though? We're gonna do gamer moves. I think we'll do all of this. Yeah. Jamaican independence. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Oh, 60 more days left before the referendum. I got the points saved up. I'm willing to spend money on this. Just in time for our austerity measures to drop off, increasing our political power game by 2 a day. I don't know if I'm willing to press this button. I'll leave it be until I can press a bunch more buttons. And then after I'm done with pressing all the buttons, I'll leave false traces, because we will not be able to intervene. Oh, we can also arm guerrillas. Significant. Let's press this one and then leave false traces. Good. We should still have time. We got 40 days. Of which, 12 will disappear, but still. Damn, they're really pumped. Ooh, that's not great. I do get it, they have the advantage. But still, at least we have the moderate regime. And go for Haku Ichiu, or 8 crowns courts under one roof. Quite a mouthful in English. Is a paraphrase of a saying attributed to Emperor Jimmu, founder of the Japanese Empire and descendant of Amaterasu and Susanoo. Hey, I've watched Naruto, I know what that is. I don't, but those words are from there as well. Upon his ascension to the throne, the first emperor proclaimed his intention to make all the world his abode, and by extension, part of the empire. The statement is over 2.5 millennia old, but it still holds value as a fundamental guideline of Japanese politics. Is this going to be a world conquest or something? Alright, we're ready for more interventions. Intervene. Do this one again. It's not looking great for us. You never know, there could be a big upset, but 21% chance of passing now. We're losing Jamaica, it seems. 18%. Ooh. 2.8%. I've never seen it get that low, man. Fuck it, we cannot hide. But I think it's pretty much over 5%. What am I supposed to do with that? 3%? 2%? Now watch us somehow pull this out of our ass. 1.5? No, it's over. They're staying with the... Yeah. Jamaica stayed. Oh, political reforms. It's been a while since we saw any of those. Development programs? Sure. How's our poverty rate? It's still going great. You know what? I'm gonna press all these buttons. That cost me a lot of our... Yeah. A lot of our support. Oh, we are now involved in West Africa. The control over the Gulf of Guinea will be pivotal towards the ability to field troops in West Africa and aid the PALF. Okay, one more potential motherfucker who can steal away from the OFN, hopefully. Jamaica didn't work out, but maybe this one will. Yeah, sadly, we cannot send any one of our preferred targets anything just yet, like gun-wise. Volunteer-wise, rather. And we need to wait until we have more political power before we can actually support them. So Japan is in a bit of a precarious position when supporting West Africa. We will increase the sphere's advantage. Ooh, in the Gulf of Guinea campaign, yes. This will also give us 100 political power, which will allow us to move in, hopefully. Yeah, and Central African Republic is actually winning. That's annoying. Why couldn't they do it when I was playing as the US? We've got a professional army now. They defeated Guinea. Does that matter for us? I don't know, actually. We seemingly haven't lost yet. As far as I understand, the West African Alliance is who we are in favor for. Ah, no, it's Cameroon, so actually, no, we're losing. Are we? Yeah. This is so confusing sometimes. This will improve the armies of Cameroon, sure. I really wish I could send actual volunteers. At least in here, once again, we are continuing to increase our GDP growth. 8.8%. Might get to 9%. At first, the generals seemed quite happy with the new product. Some of them had served in Colombia. Oh, it's once again the Guangdong experimental weapons. Nice. I'm not going to use them because I like my helicopter units. And I'd love to use them. Where there was once a limited flurry of men-at-arms, there were firm lines drawn in the sand. The generals gathered in their masses at the field headquarters as a grand offensive was being planned. One to remove West from West Africa. The French had their American backers, and if they were to stay on even ground, they needed more patronage from their Japanese backers. No, they defeated Niger, and there's a Manchuria coup. Is that good for us? I hope so. It's a Japanese man. As long as they stay with us. Let's start investing with civilian stuff, eh? Now Ghana fell. Jeez, I'm very unlucky, I feel like, again. The war escalates once more. Ensure our inflation's controlled. Yeah, we definitely need that. We're at 4% now of inflation. It's getting better. We actually have a deficit. A positive one. I'd love to continue with the reforms, but right now we can't. We need to keep supporting Cameroon. Defensive will start soon, which is useless. What the hell? We don't really have anything that helps us improve that, though. Let's do some improvements as well in here. We don't need political power that much. We gain a lot of it. And I don't want to stagnate my economy too much. Even at the cost of efficiency for Cameroon. Russian victory in Karelia. Ooh, okay, that's an interesting looking border. They didn't get more. Probably not. Masterocracy. What the hell does that even mean? The offensive will begin? Now what? Can we improve that spirit? No, we still can't. We need even more hospitals in the meantime, but we don't have much room anymore to build them. That should be enough for now. Let's keep arming the insurgencies. Hope the Gulf will be secured soon. We've been pumping everything we can into it. Still not to this day. Send some more weapons, I guess. The Gulf of Guinea is going in our favor. I'm guessing they mean... I think we lost it before we could even attempt it. Oh no, this is the Gulf of Guinea. So for now, it is fine. Despite me taking every single decision I can for the Gulf of Guinea, we still haven't won it. So are we destined to lose it? Maybe it's because all the allies of Cameroon died too quickly. Especially Guinea, they died instantly. Within the month. The Republic of India declared war on Northwest. Whoa, damn, okay. I didn't know they could ramp up patrol, but it will not give us enough control of the Guinea Gulf. At least not in time. This will time out. And I'm guessing sending aid will be more difficult now. Despite it being in my favor, probably. Yeah, we failed it. At least India knows how to actually defeat an opponent. I'm just going to give up on Africa. I think I'm going to focus on actually improving my own country for once. Do some healthcare reforms as well. It will, of course, yes, exactly, cost us some of our seats. We'll buy them up again. Ooh, the House of Peers is so close to not supporting us. We definitely will need to improve it. Oh, we'll be able to send one volunteer. This will escalate immensely. Well, it's actually 2 that we can send, and 0 air wings. Which should be good. And maybe once they get an airport, we'll actually be able to send air wings in as well. We might still win, though. That's great. If they hold out for long enough, I just get a couple of encirclements done. Should be good. Garrison strength decreases by 7.5%. Dude, yeah. Still pisses me off that the Central African Republic is around. Okay, my dudes have arrived, but it looks kind of empty in here. We're trying to get their capital. That might be it for Yoruba. See, the moment I step in, it's over already. I told you, it's over. So garrison strength again. I think that's what we need to focus on. There's no point in arming the rebels. They're too incompetent. If only we could have done that with Jamaica instead of being like, oh, let me help you with your voting. Let me just send in my helicopters. Of course, the bill passes the diet. Public approval decreases. That's fine. Because public approval is not the problem. It's 80%. With our lower limit of 30. We have 50% room to play with. It's the House of Peers that's atrocious. Again, public approval increases. Not a problem. The homie also died. Please do not let them connect. Get that helicopter. It's actually perfect. We crush the volunteers of the Americans. They're the only real ones that can actually stop us. Garrison strength of 46. Keep buying it down. Niger's properly re-established. Pump out troops, my dude. Pump out troops. Get some insurgencies out. There we go. There's no escape for you guys. It's over, my dudes. We get their next capital. Move on up again. 0.4% poverty rate change. That's great. Okay, now I'm willing to give them some equipment. I need their units to distract the enemy. You hurry up down here. Good. Now crush these dudes before they can escape. Now get down here again. They can close out the pocket. Or, take back the tile. We need to actually kill troops. There we go. House of Peers increases support. Exactly what I need. Surprised it didn't worsen. There we go. Back to the biggest party. This one guy gets encircled again. Dead forever. Oh, it's over. Did we do it? All that's left is the homie? Okay. Fair enough. Actually, no, there's more dudes in here. I didn't realize. Stand in my airplanes. I'm assuming you can at least clean up these pockets. While I go and capitulate everyone else. Go, you've arrived. Take this, all the way. Well, this. Oh, we can't go in here. We'll do it like this then. There we go. That should be it, right? In the meantime, Mali will also fall. And then we'll go for Bamako. Oh, the plan is almost done. Another nation fell. I don't know if Cameroon's the one that defeated them. For being honest here, I think that was me. I'm the one that's doing all the work. Cameroon was struggling before I came in here. Now this is all without putting in my air force. And Senegal also fell. No, our poverty rate will slowly worsen. We still have a lot of room, as you can see. Still minus 0.36 a month. Let's do another diet because I think we have pretty much full support, including the House of Peers. Yeah, everything other than industrial equipment is improved, but industrial equipment is already modern, right? The only thing we can do is get cutting-edge industrial equipment. There we go. Another motherfucker fell. Now it's actually all that's left is Mali. Because I don't think the homie and Free France have really re-established themselves. The Prime Minister was not exactly sure what he was expecting, and his army minister also did not seem to know with certainty what exactly he should expect. I thought I could trust him, I really thought so. I wonder how we got there. I don't think Daili is important. What is important is that the army is no longer the paragon of virtue. The men in high ranks working with such war criminals and enemies of the empire, madness. Pure madness. We shall conduct an investigation immediately to find out the traitors and deliver justice. Well, isn't that the whole thing about the Yasuda crisis as well? The army and the navy and literally everything is corrupt. Why are we so surprised that we might not be paragons of virtue? Our plans for the investigation were brought out to the military. The reaction was predictable. Many forceful letters and telegrams were sent out to the minister. I think I want to go for the Home Ministry. They're trying to liberalize. Not everything needs to be done by the army. I say that as I use the army volunteers to utterly crush West Africa. Oh, there we go. This is it. The final domino has fallen, I think. It is taking a while, though. God damn. Been waiting for almost a minute now. I know that because I have the recording timer right next to me. I just hope the game doesn't crash. Okay, it's been like almost 3 minutes now. What the hell's going on, man? I'm gonna go, I think, watch a little video. I'll see you guys hopefully if this calculating peace conference effects ever disappears. If not, we'll be stuck in a limbo until the end of time. Yeah, so it took over 10 minutes and then the game crashed. So let's get back into it. Hopefully it's a one-time thing and we can actually continue on with this campaign. Because if it was in the beginning of the campaign, I could still be like, oh yeah, let me just replay a bit. I'm like 10 hours of TNO footage in at this point. Actually, let me check. It might not be 10, might be like 6 or 7 actually. Okay, 2.5, 4, 5.5, 7. I'm 8 hours in to this campaign. There's no way I'm replaying everything all at once just to get to this point. But it should be fine. I will have to, of course, recapitulate Mali. But ideally, that shouldn't really be much of a problem, right? Oh, yeah, the game works, but I now have the Dai Li conspiracy. If this crisis is not wrapped up in a satisfactory manner, there are grave consequences for the whole of the Japanese Empire. It is that's what it probably was. It is highly recommended you save the game before proceeding with this option. Is that because of the army thing? Maybe. No, it's still we still have a month. I'll save the game though, just to be sure. I do not trust this, and now I do want to finish this war before I click that button. What does it say? So the Kempetai officer says to Masahiro, "What did you see in the forest, Lieutenant Masahiro?" The HQ would be incredibly interested in the details of such. Well, the villagers have sighted a figure walking through the bamboo forest, wearing a cloak made out of long leaves. They say that it is a spirit of vengeance, like a Chinese version of yokai. I did not believe them either. I don't take many walks out there in the woods, but the reports kept coming in. Soon my office was full of villagers outright gossiping about the spirit of vengeance coming for us all. Do you believe it, Masahiro, personally? No, I don't. As I said, I don't take many walks out there in the woods. However, when I do, there's a certain chill that runs through me. Someone's watching me. That will be all. Thank you, Lieutenant. Just one question. How do you go about ghost busting? Well, you gotta call someone, Ghostbusters. Please don't. Oh, thank you. It did not crash. Imperialism defeated once again. Guess, because we are not imperialists. West African Union. I hope I can get them under our control at some point. There it is. What was once a simple intelligence operation turned out to be one of the largest conspiracies Japan would ever undergo as a nation, overwhelming even the central government, who's unable to determine the sheer scale of the conspiracy. There are 5 possible leads one can take to solve the investigation, ranging from incursions deep into China, covert operations in the US, investigations within Japan itself. Which path is chosen would determine your success in investigating conspiracy. Pick the correct path and your conspiratorial investigation would go quicker than expected. Pick the wrong one and you will be setting yourself down a dark path for not only Japan, but the entire sphere. Okay, so we need to gather evidence. However that may be. Questions pile up. They must be answered indeed. Well, at least we got Africa, right? I don't think we have the option of letting them join us. Chongqing, where everything started. The Battle of Chongqing ended in 47 and the last battle of the Second World War. Both sides were equally devastated due to starvation and general dissent. Most of the proper army of Chiang Kai-shek collapsed into disorganized militias. One of those militias was the infamous Loyal Patriotic Army led by Dai Li. Despite massive shortage, Dai Li's leadership and fanaticism inspired his men to ferociously resist the Japanese. In the ruins of Chongqing, the supposedly dead body of Dai Li was found, and the LPA units limiting their activities. It was thought that the total victory was finally won. But what if that wasn't Dai Li, huh? Remains of the LPA. Takechi's office swelters in the humid Sichuan weather, punctuated with the distinct smell of shenghuas and a smattering of both Japanese and Chinese among the clerks. Chengdu was nearing the far end of Tokyo's grasp over China, and while it may not be an active war zone like Mengjiang was, it was a pretty dead-end posting for a career bureaucrat. That is, until the reports by panicking locals started flooding. It started with an upsurge of watchman weapons requisitions. Sure, a few surplus rifles and sidearms. Who cares what goes missing in the labyrinth of Japanese-controlled China anyway? Then, bit by bit, weapons started to disappear. And then, declarations of warnings started. Reading through the details of attack, Takamura felt his blood freeze. This is for Chongqing. There aren't that many organized resistance forces in the regions that are capable of such an attack, and the telltale signs were all there. Surely this can't be it. We got rid of the LPA ages ago. Call Sato for a private meeting. I think we may be onto something here. Launch the investigation, yeah. Why would we ignore that? I guess if you purposely want to try get Japan to follow something like that, plan another small military period 7 days away. Our research facilities will also improve. It's good. GDP growth, very important. Increase in administrative efficiency. What does that give us, actually? More PP, supply consumption. Yeah, just a bit of everything. The LPA is cornered. This can't be real. You think we finally struck something? I'm sure of it. Northern Chengdu has been a red blip on the armies since 2 weeks ago. Maybe we can finally get this Daily shit moving. Maybe so, Sato. Maybe so. Unfortunately, only the army had the resources for such an excursion to both conduct a sweep and gather sensitive intelligence from the countryside. Ring that old dog Fujimura right now. Tell him Takamura wants a meeting in confidence as soon as he lets go of that bottle. Oh no, don't bring the Kempeitai into this. Not yet, at least. Okay, we'll have to see where that goes. You know, I don't get why we are chasing Dai Li even, Takamura. I'm not sure if that man is still alive. I don't either. But the evidence is there. I'm sure it is. We just have to Takamura was suddenly interrupted by a courier. Heaving to catch his breath, the courier manages to give the officer a salute before handing a folder to Sato. After Action Report, 1968. Hey Takamura, you may want to see this. Jun Tong unit caught in raid, not affiliated to Dai Li. Any organization connection to Dai Li is fragile. If existent, commander suggestion, terminate investigation. Dai Li eludes us yet again. A financial crisis in Nanjing, you better solve this, you motherfuckers. What? Our efforts to reform the army have been mostly a failure? We increased the professionalism, but we didn't increase the supervision or the quality of training. Damn it! So what is it that they want? The quality of training, right? Is that what laws or something? I don't know. I actually don't know. I might have had to focus on the military side instead. That might be on me, actually. But now I know for the future. I figured it had to do something with all the defense that I kept clicking in here, but I guess not. Cut it out, Sato. I'm working here. Well, where the hell are you even gonna start? There's 20 new groups calling themselves resistance fighters every month, only to reveal themselves as extortion gangs in their second week. That's not why you... Forget it. Just turn down the turntable a little and pass me that folder. Noteworthy groups and organizations. Interesting little folder for a backwater like this. The folder was, as Sato mentioned previously, filled with irrelevant and trifling groups. Hell, there are even 6 groups claiming to be directly loyal to Chiang Kai-shek himself. Ignoring how he's dead, and decidedly so for more than 20 years now, Takamura lights a cigarette and sighs in frustration, until Sato breaks the silence. Hey, how come that new monastic order from Hui isn't in this file? Why on earth would you raise suspicion on a monastic order? Because Tsuji shoots damn near everyone who tries to leave. Either they're ridiculously lucky, or they're not from Hui in the first place. Interesting. Chinese interference. National Security Bureau, Chengdu Special Detachment. On the surface, the folder looks fine. Chinese intelligence has been cooperating reasonably, granting extra manpower and weaponry when called upon and deemed appropriate, at least until Takamura got to the evidence collected segment, ostensibly to check whether Japanese and Chinese records match when it came to evidence. Chengdu dossier disregard sent to Nanjing for confirmation. Takamura wondered to himself, why would China send such crucial evidence to Nanjing first without Japanese approval? Sato had already sent this report to Tokyo as per procedure, but the Chinese side of the investigation seemingly missed out on crucial administrative procedure. Could it be sabotage? It couldn't be. China has everything to lose if they break away from the sphere now. Gao's reforms are still weak. On the other hand, Takamura has little to lose. There aren't many political consequences for expelling the Chinese. Hell, Tokyo may even prefer that to risking any state secrets. On the other hand, playing their game may lead Takamura's investigation to levels previously unheard of. Let's play their game, see where it leads us. You sure about this, Sato? I've served here for almost a decade now, Takamura. I know how to wring secrets out of fish guts. Just act natural, follow my lead. Remember, it's dinner and drinks, not swords and swashbuckling. So, gentlemen, what's the weather up north lately? Nothing too harsh. Just a few scattered sandstorms here and there. Last week, there was a particularly bad one in Nanchang. I see. Well, the night's still young, gentlemen. Would you like to join me and my colleague here for a round of Baiju? Sato, we'd love to, but we've got a train to catch tomorrow, heading for Guangzhou. I insist, gentlemen. It's on me. They may not have a choice in that. We've gained some more evidence. What a blender, eh, Takamura? I thought you'd grow more hair on your chest with all that rice wine you've been drinking at the desk all the time. Not all at once, Sato. Did they say anything, though, on the cab home? Well, I'd suggest you sober up a little bit. You'll want to hear every detail of this. Hey, Lieutenant, I'm not sure if Tokyo's paying you to smoke cigarettes and drink yourself to death, but we still have an investigation ongoing. So, Those two bastards spilled everything we wanted to hear. I didn't even need to prod them all that much. I just brought up the missing evidence. They thought I was with the fucking NSB, so they spoke a little about Kempeitai operations in Nanjing before they black out. We got them right where we want them. Hell yeah, boys. Eventually, Cameroon should be falling, right? This is not supposed to last. Damn it, paranoia increased somewhat. Do we need to buy that down? No, it's 21%. We're good. We do need to buy up some influence. We're not the biggest party right now. The Sino-Japanese Cooperation Organization, the American expeditionary force that were deployed during the war, was believed to have been fully evacuated in 1944. With far more pressing matters to take care of, traces left behind by the SACO were quickly investigated and then mostly forgotten. They became little more than a memory from the war that left little behind to concern Japan, or so it was believed. With a link between Americans and Dai Li having recently been uncovered, the remains of SACO's presence that littered China became a priority for the investigators. A number of planes were wrecked in close proximity to each other, and this site might prove vital to finding what truly happened to the Americans. At the same time, the security minister has contacted spies in the United States. Should they be capable of finding files on the fate of the expeditionary forces, it is expected that records of who among the Americans returned alive are still kept and that they are within our reach. At the behest of General Iwaichi Fujiwara, it was decided that the investigation of the officers be given the reins to choose which route to pursue. Theories raced through the heads of the investigators as they considered their options. Had Dai Li escaped the war through with the evacuation of Americans, only to return a few months later? Has SACO helped to establish Dai Li's presence in China over 20 years ago? Could it be that the United States were funding Dai Li using the evacuation in 1944 as a cover for their forces secretly remaining in the region? In truth, the only truth that the investigators could count on so far was that only by digging deeper would they uncover what they sought. Alert American detachments, see if we can find any files. We've gathered evidence of the existence of a Juntong and Chinese involvement. Everything else we don't have evidence of just yet. Oh, and look at that. China has absorbed Long Yung's former territory, which is good. Makes my faction look a lot better. Support increase. Are they at the max? I feel like they're pretty much, yeah. 97.5, 97.5. They're actually equal. That's perfect. Another diet passes once again. Let's do the next one. We're close to surpassing the reformists again. Okay, so naturally, anything pertaining to covert military operations in hostile foreign power would be closely guarded. The first steps to accessing these records was fairly simple. The archive building would be scouted out day and night. Each entrance would be checked for alarms. Guard patrols would be memorized, and any potential job opportunity that might get one inside the building would be quickly taken. More and more information was gathered regarding the archives, photographs taken, blah blah blah. Some back in Tokyo had demanded a quicker operation, yet this, of course, was ruled out. It was better to not start a diplomatic incident. Yeah, take your time, my dude. We don't want to heat up the war. Organization for the Preservation of the Soviet Union. What the fuck does that even mean? Are you a museum or something? The records found. Admiral Miles never left China. He's still here. And the second audit, the Juntong was decentralized. The report was written with an aggravated tone, detailing how the true organization of the Juntong was in a number of splinter cells, to what extent the cells worked together on sharing information, or how was still unsolved. But Chinese claimed that Dai Li's network, being a centralized and hierarchical organizations, were totally false. These results, while confirmed to be accurate, were done without working with the Nanjing government. Untrustworthy sources and the poor status of the Chinese intelligence agency caused the results to be heavily delayed. Okay, interesting. More evidence has been acquired. Since both... Let me pause, thank you. Since both Dai Li and Admiral Miles are still alive, there is no doubt that these two men are working together. However, we have not received many letters confirming this connection. But that doesn't mean that they aren't working together. What if the two are purposeful in sending out such outdated and minute information? I've been pouring through the letters available, and I've noticed a few interesting pattern symbols. I've noticed only 12 of these symbols ever being used. It has to be the Chinese calendar. It's a long chance, but I think it might work. And if it does, each and every one of us will be written in the records of history as the code breakers that saved the empire. Nice, another piece of evidence. We have 1, 2, 3. We're halfway there, I think. But as the dust settles across the battlefield of West Africa, it's becoming increasingly clear that the PALF may be ill-equipped to remedy the issues of the war-torn region. Fortunately, a solution may be arriving in the most recent meeting of the Pan-African movement, the Mutual Economic Assistance. Let's see. I don't know if I mind them collapsing. That could be an advantage for us, right? We'll have to see. Maybe if they do collapse, we can move in and get stuff going. The revelation of the Sacco documents began to take its grasp over the assembled politicians, leaving them perplexed momentarily. A degree of normalcy then returned to the room, before the Prime Minister dismissed his array of advisors, just prior to exiting himself. The Home Minister announced that he would be contacting the Kempeitai departments across the sphere in hopes that they might now finally be able to narrow down the search. With the investigators now out in the field again, they were able to make some headway regarding the missing admiral. A courier sent out of Shanghai was found to be carrying a package discreetly marked with the emblem of the Zhengtong, the intelligence services belonging to Dai Li. Moving on Shanghai, you will receive reinforcements soon. Surround the city and find Admiral Miles. We're getting closer and closer. Now we just need the whereabouts of Admiral Miles, internal disruptions of our investigations, and information for Dai Li himself. Shanghai was filled with agents of the Kempeitai and Toko. From each and every direction, some took up positions along the road and out of the city, while others used disguises in order to infiltrate the recesses of Shanghai's underbelly. While the investigation agents continued to widen their net over Shanghai, they turned their focus towards what identity Milton E. Miles might have assumed to blend in with his new surroundings. As an American, the Admiral would already be limited in options. He would need to remain in districts homes to many foreigners, with the financial district coming to the minds of the investigators first. Miles was likely posing as a merchant, someone recognizable to his allies, but subtle enough to avoid suspicion. Then there were issues of whether Admiral was still communicating with the United States. There was undoubtedly other Americans working covertly in Shanghai, most of which would be working for the CIA in some direct or indirect capacity. Yet it was still too early to determine whether Miles would be among the group of his countrymen. Let's contact Shanghai, see if they can find something. Reports have come in that our court breakers that they are overwhelmed with documents. Even with the most powerful computing system running day and night, members of our technical and decryption departments have complained that they simply cannot keep up. The best code-breaking machines in our arsenal seem to find no pattern in the piles of messages delivered daily. It is near impossible any partisan could create an unbreakable code without help. Some are pointing the fingers to Admiral Miles, who probably gets codes created by the American computers across the Pacific. But let's keep going. They'll break eventually. Finally, government stability has returned. We are the biggest party again. After securing the city, they had moved on to the final district, hoping to locate the Admiral before he could react to their presence. Many Shanghainese had indeed heard of a Western trader, either from Australia or possibly the United States. He had in fact arrived some decades ago and quickly blended in among the traditional style shops and stalls of the district outskirts. He had seemingly disappeared only a few years ago, having closed up his shop and said his last goodbyes to his business associates. At the very least, they were able to locate the supposed trader's shop. The new owners had met their predecessors only very briefly. Some weeks later, he had been buried up on a hill outside the city. It was a simple, almost unmarked grave, hidden among many others of its kind. A simple, if elegantly crafted cross marked the spot. The name upon it was false. That was some persona that Admiral Milton E. Miles had created for himself. He had apparently died in December 1961, something that concerned the investigators greatly. The next step was crude enough, but necessary. The dead man was dug up and found to be wearing Admiral Miles' uniform. Hospital records believed that he had indeed been dying of cancer. The doctors were just able to recognize his photographs, even without the beard that he had grown during his time in Shanghai. The trail had ended. Fujiwara was left puzzled by the revelation. It provided a sense of finality, yet raised new concerns. Most of all, it cast a shadow of doubt over the entire conspiracy, now that the one of its key figures had been dead for some time now. Progress has been made, but now certainly not the time to rest easy. Once again, evidence acquired. Just need the internal disruptions and whereabouts of the Dialee himself. Damn it, paranoia increases again. It should be fine. Lieutenant General Dialee turned to his two comrades before breaking the silence they had kept since they arrived. To his right stood Lee Ken-nong, a long-time opponent since the Generalissimo began to purge the communists from his clique. Now one of the only men he could trust. Aside from them was the American, Admiral Miles, silently mouthing a prayer at the sight of unimaginable devastation. Dialee thought back to the millennia-old tales of the Three Kingdoms, of three noble and cunning leaders meeting to become blood brothers, yet great princes with honor would have no answers for a foe which could only bring death on land, air, and sea. Their peach garden was reduced to ash. "We will fight," Dialee said. "We will never give up this burden, until Japan burns like this garden." Okay. Vengeance indeed. But we'll not let them. We will win. Mr. Isuzu, I hope you understand the seriousness of filing a report of treason in this investigation. If your claim is even in the slightest bit incorrect, you'll be terminated from this investigation. Mr. Isuzu's eyes darted frantically across the room. He had a theory, but who else would believe it? It would bring the whole investigation crashing down. It made no sense, but he felt it was the case. Investigator Kawashima, I work for the decryption department. We've been seeing nothing but failures in our efforts. Every day the Kempeitai delivers us piles of acquired documents from raids, but there is no pattern. These papers are not code. There are random characters and words thrown together. The investigators took a cigarette out of his pocket. Isn't it your job to separate this randomness? Investigator, I'm telling you, look at this. We have checked this against Jungtong codes, German, American, even old Russian ones. Kempeitai are giving us pointless documents that aren't ever meant to be solved. Dialee could just be in a moment of defiance. Perhaps Mr. Uzusu's most daring action of his life. He cut off Kawashima. The Kempeitai are sending these investigator. I can't see any other answer. I swear to you, it is true, Investigator Kawashima. They're giving us nothing. You can ask anyone here, I swear. The Kempeitai are hiding something. I can feel it. Please, look into it. They are not telling us everything. As Mr. Isuzu collapsed into his seat, Mr. Kawashima looked at him with a mix of shock and fury. It couldn't be true. He was a madman, driven to lunacy in order to justify his lack of progress. He stood up and left the room, gathering Mr. Isuzu's files with him. Before he closed the heavy door, he remarked, "You are dismissed, Mr. Isuzu. But we've gained evidence, motherfucker. Now we just need evidence of Dialee himself." Oh, whoops. I accidentally clicked the one away. But there was nothing important. It was just something about the IGN support decreasing. Uh-oh. Paranoia increases more. It is highly recommended you save your game before proceeding with this option. Let me save again and see what they have to say. I have good relations with all of them. Slightly better with the IGA. Yeah, let's go. They should give us what we want, which is hopefully answers. The investigation was on the surface going well. The agents were not treated particularly well by their hosts across a number of army offices and barracks. They were met with stern and almost defiant glances as they went about their work. Files arrived on time and interviews were carried out, always together with those seemingly ubiquitous looks of anger. Yet the agents were still unable to carry out their tasks, albeit with an uncomfortable aura around them at all times. Fortunately for them, there would be a number of assets, courtesy of the Home Minister, to aid them. A number of aligned army personnel would make sure the operation ran smoothly. If one soldier refused to deliver a document, it would soon enough be delivered by a superior officer. Interviews went by without too much difficulty, as a word or two from the Home Minister kept the army mostly in check. It was enough to make the officer know that cooperation would lead to a hastened promotion and not a hastened retirement. All in all, the assistance of the Home Minister was more than enough to aid his investigation. Among the plethora of unusual and suspicious documents collected by the investigating agents, a selection of financial records stood out the most. The first detail of note was that they concerned a number of Kempeitai officers. The second detail was that these officers had become obscenely wealthy over a course of only a few weeks. Money had seemingly poured into the welfare of these military police officers, yet at no point did the records state why they had been authorized. Something fishy indeed. We'll have to investigate them. Check their butthole. They might be hiding some coins in there. While the Kempeitai officers were currently out of reach, having been reported as out on covert assignments, their families were not. Fortunately for the investigation, that was where the trail of money led them. The Kempeitai official suddenly discovered fortunes had not been sent directly to their bank accounts. Instead, the money had gone towards their close relations, whether that be their girlfriends, wives, parents, or siblings. The interviews with these relatives went well. Some coaxing was initially required, as many of them felt anxious about their money possibly being taken away from them. Their fears were eventually quelled with the realization of the investigator's actual interest. Among those questioned, the universal story was that a charitable donation had been made to them due to their Kempeitai family member. The benefactor was always anonymous, at least to the recipient of the money. All the signs of corruption are certainly there, but where else would that lead us to? As they so often do, the trail was found far from where the investigation had least expected it. The Home Minister, as per his job description, had contacts in virtually every branch of the Japanese government and military. Most rumors before made their way to his ears sooner or later. With a sense of direction restored, the investigation agent rushed to their new target. The investigation would look towards local officials for possible leads. A large enough bribe or a serious enough threat made all but the most stubborn of them comply with the investigation. Peace by peace, the trail reformed once again. All of the Kempeitai agents booked into the Astor House Hotel. It was simple enough to win the hotel over to their side. A phone call from the Home Minister assured the Astor House management that they would receive a generous donation should they comply with the investigation. We need evidence of these crimes. Yeah, let's play it carefully. I want to see these officials committing the crimes. The Chinese agent. Can we catch him or will he escape? Let's see. Oh, the brutal method and the swift response. We did catch him. Just routine questioning. Just police brutality, bro. Don't question it too much. Or you might be next. Stubbornness had been expected, considered by the investigation to be part and parcel when dealing with members of the military. Yet breaking them down was certainly not impossible. Cut off from the world, isolated from even each other, and subject to constant and repetitive questioning. The signs of their slipping composure would soon become more and more apparent. Eventually, their hope of the military intervening would begin to fade. They will confess, or else. And there we go, we've gained evidence. The Chinese contact never spoke. He only stared right into the eyes of his captives. The agent holding the lamp seemed to finally suffer from it. Lowering the light and turning to face his colleague, we should consider other, a gloved hand struck the contact, sending a wave of pain across his face. Then it happened again. On the fifth strike, his ears began ringing. He watched the two agents argue with each other, catching echoes of their words through the din. When this all began, did the behavior of the Kempeitai not trouble you? Did you not question how forthcoming they were about Dai Li? Did you even examine any of the information they sent you? The investigating agents leaned in and demanded an explanation. I worked for Dai Li, but that was decades ago. I have no idea what has become of him. For all I know, he could be living as a hermit in Tibet. Ever since the war ended, the Kempeitai has been forcing me to snuff out resistant movements in China. If they knew where he was, I would have been used against him. He was struck again in the face. Everything you have gathered up to this point confirms this. Why were they so forthcoming about the rumors of Dai Li murdering unsuspecting Japanese soldiers? Why tell you this and then refuse to aid you? Every time you've lifted the curtains just a little bit higher than the Kempeitai, what have you found? Nothing. Phone the Home Minister. Tell him the investigation is taking a new turn. Tell him that, and that we are on our way to Nanjing. This began with the Kempeitai, and it will end with them indeed. Yeah, I think we have evidence for everything. Prime Minister, the Dai Li situation has taken a severe turn, and I believe it is best to meet with you to discuss this matter at once. The office of his superior was lit only by setting sun as the Home Minister entered, casting beams of pinkish light across the floor and right-hand wall. The Home Minister gave his best bow and approached the desk. Sir, I have finally received the reports from my agents. They bring news of a great but deeply troubling development that we could not have anticipated. Ikeda poured over the documents, while the minister could not help but watch the look of concern that spread over his face. Finally, the Prime Minister raised his head from the mass of papers. This suggests that Dai Li's return was little more than a byproduct of Kempeitai mismanagement. You cannot mean to tell me that we have been led astray by panic alone. I'm afraid so, sir. Our every investigative path leads us to a dead end or back to the initial report. The rumor of Daily infiltrating the army simply falls apart when one examines the situation more closely. This has been a ploy to keep us distracted. Have we truly been so blind, and why keep us distracted like this? What is being hidden by us? Against us? The Prime Minister's order to raid the Kempeitai had been taken to heart by the Home Minister. Not wanting to waste any more time, lest the Kempeitai discover that they were compromised, he had contacted the Navy. Nanjing was at the heart of the military police's power, except for around the ports. They could be found patrolling the streets in equal frequency to the IGA. Alright, we're moving in. From the open window of the abandoned farmhouse that Daily called a field base came a terrible hacking cough. That was followed by the crashing of glass and the toppling of furniture. To the Yuntong soldiers who called Daily a commander, this was all part of the nightly routine. At the end of the day, he would seclude himself in his farmhouse, drink until he could no longer stand, and then fall into an inebriated stupor. His men cared not. They in fact appreciated the calm after the drunken storm. Silence meant that they could rest and avoid Dali's cruel gaze. Even so, the coughing was particularly vile that night. Oh damn, he just died, choking in his own vomit basically. We take the body to the woods, buried, and leave. And with that, Daily is no more. How anticlimactic, I feel like. Daily had been dead since the late 1950s. The exact cause of his death is not entirely understood, but it can be concluded that alcoholism and general poor health were the contributing factors. Damn, a very anticlimactic indeed. All of that frantic researching and investigating for nothing. Oh, and we have successfully managed the crisis. Perfect. And passed another beautiful reform. The Daily crisis averted. Africa liberated. And maybe even in the future they might be able to join us. I don't know. That would be nice though. And now we can at least continue on, increase our GDP, increase our lovely little country of happy people that are definitely not under a brutal dictatorship. Although to be fair, we are gonna improve our country in each and every way, starting with education reforms again, and buy some more power for the use of the public. Gives us extra free civilians. Okay. This time we'll be making prisons for all the naughty Japanese people that dare have thought crimes. Put them on the islands. They will never escape. My special own Guantanamo Bays. Ooh, this will increase our GDP by 1.5%. Not bad. And our growth rate is almost at 11%. Let's strengthen labor protections and buy up more party support. Thank you. We're almost done with the political reforms. Just 3 more to go. Ikeda, Sato started. I must protest this move towards expanding the military industry. The Emperor knows that we have enough factories that produce weapons already. I do not wish to reproach you, for you have brought us this far. However, I think that this renewed focus is in contrary to what Japan needs at the moment. Sato, Prime Minister Ikeda began, his voice soft and sympathetic. It is all right to correct or even reprimand me. I appreciate your concern. Your advice has been nothing but beneficial to this government, Hatoyama. I presume that you are here for the same reason. I am Prime Minister. I do not believe that we should repeat the Konoe administration mistakes. We are here to govern Japan in peacetime, not a national defense state. Already the new regulations smack of the National Mobilization Law. Thank you, Hatoyama. I think that your concerns come from the depths of your heart. However, I must say that we have concerns beyond the civilian economy that keep us afloat. The Army and the Navy. We depend on their support. And I am afraid that in the face of this, I must reject your advice. Fair concerns, but alas, please consider pounding sand. The amount of support that we have currently is atrocious. We don't have enough seats, we need more. Finally, we've increased agricultural methods. We have modern agriculture. Nice. Very good indeed. We'll have even more manpower now. We already have 7 million. I don't know what the fuck to do with all of that. I think I'll also develop the aviation as well, and then go back towards the civilian side to pass both diets. Some extra political power. Our seats are still looking atrocious. There we go. That's a bit better. Oh, House of Peters. No. Fix it. Why is our stability still low? We're in a great place. Oh, well, I guess I don't know. We're really improving everything in here, huh? That's maybe... Yeah, increase minimum wage. There we go. We've once again fixed our position. And get the Shinkansen expanded as well. We should, yeah. House of Peers is barely enough, but it is technically enough. This bill should pass, increasing our GDP, our growth, and army professionalism. Iberia abolishes the Iberian Council. That means that they're most likely going to fall apart, which hopefully also means we can carve out a lovely little piece of land to join our sphere. There we go. This bill passed. Our stability is back to 100. And now past the next one, the Rural Development Bill. Let's do some unemployment subsidies as well. We're back down here. Use the public to increase our hold. We do still need one more push maybe to get our stability back up. There we go, back up. Indeed, that should also stabilize our stability completely. Yep. And we still have plenty of MP support, plenty of House of Peers support. This diet bill will pass as well. Of course the bill passes, rapidly improving our poverty rate as well. And our GDP growth increases as well as we've expanded our railway tremendously. That's great. We are losing more and more MPs because we can no longer focus on as much on these things, considering we're losing a lot of both support from the Conservatives as everyone else by trying to pass all of these reforms that we're doing. It's not going to stop me, but, you know, just letting you know. I'll click this button, back down to 66% stability, but I should be able to increase it in time. Iberian War, does that do anything for us? Not yet. I think we should be able to eventually get in. There it is. From the ashes rises an opportunity. Indeed. No, I need points. Who can we help? I have no idea. We can't do anything yet, I think. We need political power first. There's some political... It's not enough yet, but it's a good start. There we go. We have 50. You will now be able to send troops, right? Oh, we can only send it to the Basques, Galicians, and Catalonians probably, right? But currently it's just core Spain land and core Portuguese land. I think I actually don't get it. Oh yeah, no, they're not at war. We have no interest in the Spanish or the Portuguese apparently. Nor the Moroccans. Or the Mauritanians. Okay, fair enough. Send military advisors to the RIF. Sure. Can I still not send anything in there? Because I can send advisors. I guess not. Sabotage enemy lines? Sure. But still, I don't know why I can't... Surely I should be able to send them in. Now what's the point of supporting them? Yeah, fledgling state called the Rif Republic has emerged in the Moroccan territory. Request our aid. I mean, yeah. Let me send. We have no reason to send. They're literally asking for it. Please. This will give me political... Oh, that's perfect. Please. Supply the Rif with... Yeah. They need guns. And I mean, it does look like the Rif is holding out just fine for now. Of course, bill passed in the diet. Supply everyone, please. Just want to press all of these buttons. They're getting pushed back. No. Rif, please. I want to give you more guns. You're not letting me. Let me help out. Oh no, they're about to fall. Please let me send them more guns. Survive for long enough. They might not. They might very well not. Oh no, yeah, no. Goodbye. I will miss you, Rif. I hardly knew you. Congratulations for your success, Kido Koichi offered, seating himself next to the Prime Minister. Amazing work. I envy you, Prime Minister Ikeda, for doing so much the Ino Ministry could not. A word of praise from Marcus Kido. It was most peculiar, and Ikeda met his compliments under an arched eyebrows. It is kind of you to offer, Ikeda said. But what prompted the friendly overtures? Marcus Kido. Kido laughed, graceless and brash as usual. Mind your manners, Prime Minister. Nobles are around. As I said, enjoy your success, Prime Minister, while you still can. The years ahead of you will look a bit dark. Sounds ominous, Marquis. From one statesman to another, Prime Minister, nothing more. At least we can use the points that we got to arm the separatists. And there we go. We fixed our stability once again. The Imperial Diet, strong as ever. Can I still not send anything to the RIF? Of course I can't. We're just supporting them, but they're like, nah, we don't need people. We don't need actual units. Yeah, they somehow survived. What the hell, man? They're not getting pushed in. I mean, if I can keep supplying them until they Maybe regrow their army and push out. That'd be nice. Yeah, sabotage enemy lines. Supply them even more. Just press all the buttons that we can, maybe. No new decisions for us, sadly. No, they're going after the capital. Burgundia collapsed. Ooh, we got the Esprit Corps. And those are some great bonuses. But I'm afraid the Rift might not be long for the world. Supply them anyway. If they survive this attack, they might have a chance. Nope, they died. Oh, well. Yeah, we lost a lot of MPs. Do we need to start improving relations again? There we go. We get at least good relations again with the Conservatives. That's my party, technically. Look, we're back up to 280 seats. Not bad at all. The evenings were quiet at the Hatoyama household. His sons and daughter had left their home a long time ago, leaving him and his wife to spend the twilight years of their lives together. Kaoru was in the kitchen, preparing tonight's dinner. Hatoyama could hear the banging of pots, the thuds of knives on cutting boards, and the rising sizzle of boiling water. On other evenings, he would be gallivanting to the kitchen to see what the fuss was about. However, a crucial matter was at hand. Prime Minister Ikeda was calling. Hatoyama, I'm talking to you. Are you alright? The past few weeks, Hatoyama has been far from alright. He was far past his prime, and even walking had become a struggle. His panting echoed weakly on the walls of his study. I am fine, Prime Minister. Go on. No, you're not. We have been talking for half an hour, yet we have not even scratched the surface of anything, Hatoyama. If you're not well, please, do not hesitate to tell me. Do you need to pass water? Yes, I'm sorry. It's all right. Call me back when you're done. He never reached it, and so passes a great statesman of the age. Damn. Hatoyama's dead. To go get enough seats, and House of Peers like us enough for us to be able to pass the next bill as well. The hell is Reichsland? Damn it. Ordenstadt Burgund has reunited everything. They will survive for now. Nice. The bill passes indeed. Let's go straight to the next one, I guess, just to be safe. Yeah, we still can't do anything in here. I'm guessing the next stage will happen once Portugal is also won. German invasion of... Okay. Yeah. Hopefully we don't get nuked or anything like that. I'm guessing most of it will go to France still. At least the Paris part. Yep, it's over. Oh, they even get Wallonia. Damn. Feeling generous, huh? And this next bill will also most likely pass. Conservatives will get some power. Administrative efficiency. Income tax, minimum wage. Okay, that's good. That's good. Is it just me or did the Republic of China change color a little bit? Good for them, I think. Or sorry to hear that happened. Oh, Vietnam expanded actually. Damn. Did not realize that. Thank you for passing this bill as well. And look at it. All of a sudden, we have 260 political power. We should be able to get our MP support up to an adequate degree. Well, we've already passed what we needed. I just like to have like a big buffer. There we go. What the hell? Iberia, what did you do? That's gross looking. Give it back to Portugal, please. Now they're declaring the war on the rest. Can I send? Of course I can. Only 2? They declare war only on the Basque? Yeah, for the time being. The moment they declare war on Galicia or Catalonia, will be golden. My dudes have arrived. Let's go in. Yeah, can't send in the airplane, sadly. Okay, 2 dudes encircled. Not bad, huh? Not incredible, but for the horrible situation that we're currently in, I've definitely seen worse. Okay, retreat this dude, please. Why are we not allowed to retreat in here? Let's get the better helicopter as well. Research advanced transport helicopters. We gotta do small encirclement, sadly. Why did you leave your capital, you idiot? I gotta take it back. Well, mostly they don't have any equipment anymore. Come on, encircle these 2 units. That will definitely help us. Still, no decisions to be taken in here. At least we killed another 2 dudes. Oh, we overran them. But maybe if we go like this, right? That's a massive encirclement that we can get. And crush them. Damn it, they got encircled. I'm telling you, I'm the only one in here, so it is kind of difficult. Now I got encircled instead. How's that war looking? Okay. How many did we kill yet? The Basques have killed every one of them. So we're doing great, I think. How many units did they have? With our 2 dudes, it might take a while before we actually manage to crush them. Now we're stuck here with our last stand. Please let me retreat. Go back. Bilboa fell again. Damn it, now we're stuck in here. I think those dudes... Oh no, actually we managed to escape. Barely, but still. This might be it for the Basques. There's not enough units on the front line. Yep. But they suffered 200,000 casualties. Just to try and retake the Basque. Next up, they're most likely going to declare on Catalonia or Galicia. And I'll send more volunteers. Wait, what? Has completed the focus across the blood-red dunes. Where is that focus? We haven't unlocked it yet. I'm guessing it's a crisis focus or something. Yeah, make more helicopter units, because I'm guessing Arab Spring's about to happen. We might just join. There we go, Catalonia declared war upon. Why would you look at that? Well, oh, there they are. They're already back. I can send the same dudes in right away. They're probably like battle scarred and stuff like that. No air wings, sadly. There go, my dudes have indeed arrived. Get in here. Oh, they're abandoning the front line. Thank you. There we go, 2 dudes dead right away. That's a great start. Let's see if I can encircle this 3 stack, eh? Or 2 stack by the time I get there. 1 stack by the time I get there. Fair enough. You know what? Let this dude recover. Civil war erupts. Yep. Increased commitment. Send advisors. Yep. Desert training. Sure. This motherfucker, right? What can I send you? 3 dudes, no air wings again. Why can I no longer send air wings? So annoying. But I'm gonna be very busy now, juggling all of this. Jeez, retreat already. The hell? What the? They fell really quickly. Okay. I guess they lost too many VPs. They'll eventually clear war on Galicia. I'll have another opportunity in there. Okay, we've arrived. Let's move in, boys. This is going really easily. What the? Okay, we won our first conflict. The other ones didn't even spawn yet. I might be struggling in Iberia for some reason, but the Middle East? Mwah. They declared war on Galicia. Okay, next up. At least I can send them 3 now. No air wings still. Well, this could be a great opportunity to encircle them. Like these ones in here, in Braga. If our units get there in time, of course. Oman is next. Okay. We can get involved. I don't know which ones are preferred. This one's our preferred, right? We can send 4. With a bit of luck, these wars will be also very dang quick. The Galician one still hasn't arrived. Hope they'll survive before that happens. It doesn't look good right now, I'll tell you that much. And of course, Egypt also falling apart. Send in advisors, send in everything for Egypt to... Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one that we need to support. Only 2. Can we not... Have we not sent in here? I guess we didn't. I'll send them in. Must have been bugged then. But I don't know if they'll survive for that long. And now Iraq also falls apart. Send some economic aid. Advisors, no air support though. Now which one of these motherfuckers can I support? The Republic of Iraq instead of the Iraqi Republic. Okay, we can do that. Now we just barely have enough volunteers to send to everyone. Although Sudan most likely will collapse as well. Please survive. And there's Sudan as well. They collapsed, but I don't think they... Are they at war? Yeah, they are at war. There is a Sudan that we can support. They allow us to send 4 units, right? Good. Our earliest one is going to arrive tomorrow. The more resources we send to our supported factions, the more we'll gain once the conflicts end. Okay. So it's actually a good thing that we're over-involved. The Galician motherfuckers have indeed arrived. Where's the Egyptian boys? Actually, finish this up real quick first, eh? And then you guys in here instead. Okay, that should be fine. I might actually have to slow down a little bit more. Of course, the oil crisis because of this erupts. That makes sense. I think Oman were about to win. Oh, for a second I thought, is our Egypt dead now? No, thankfully they're not. Okay, now let's help out in Galicia as well. Iraq has entered. Oil crisis come. Oh, yeah, everything is decreasing. We need to fix that. What the? Oh, yeah. Okay. What do we do with the House of Peers? We're under what we need to be. Okay, that will increase it at least. There we go. We did it. Madagascar appeal to Japan. Yeah, lend them aid because I want them to stay in my faction. Let's get in here. Take care of Sudan as well, eh? Egypt. How's Egypt looking? Oh, there's even a German one in here. That's cute. Yeah, the Americans are dead. The Galicians, we are still trying to crush. How's Oman looking? Increased commitment. Sure. I'm not going to send in an extra dude just yet. Oman has defeated. Yes, perfect. All that's left is Dhofar, but we're already moving into their capital. It should be over soon. Our successful army reform has ensured that we are ready to face this crisis. Nice. We get free shit. And all the way down to Basra, please. Crush this dude real quick. Good. Oh, we have won a conflict, I think. Right? Yes. Let's do the next one. Our poverty rate begins to worsen. No. This should be Oman dealt with, right? Crush these dudes. Good. I think Yemen's also gonna win. Yeah. How is it looking? Everything else is still ongoing, but we've pretty much had victories all around. There's another victory for the Egyptians. Oh, actually, I think we won, right? Yeah. Our second victory. I might have to just give them all air support. It'll worsen our poverty rate temporarily. We're still losing poverty rate, so not that bad. But I want to increase my commitment to as high as I can. There we go, that's Oman also fixed up. Wait, Iraq's still ongoing despite it being a victory for us? How does that work? Oh, I guess it doesn't matter which one of them wins. We will get the victory for ourselves anyway. That's my guess at least. And then go to Port Sudan. There we go, that should be it, right? Iraq has been won. Oh yeah, I forgot completely about this. Sierra Leone. Oh, they're fighting again. Is that what's? Yeah, there's more fighting in West Africa again. Wilted flowers across the Persian. What does that mean, my dude? Could you speak in human language? Kill, please. That's the only thing that we can't handle. Helicopter units from the enemy side. Luckily, he's almost dead. That's another victory for Sudan. And now get in here. We'll clean up the final piece of land. Ah, that's a German. No wonder they can't take Dongola. Additional bonus due to Sukarno winning. Oh, nice. Our poverty rate worsens again. Ugh. There we go. Just surround Dongola, take everything else. Oh, I didn't even see. I completely forgot about Galicia. That's fine. Francisco Franco, you know, good on you or something like that. I might be able to help Tangiers, maybe. We'll see how that goes. Interference with the... Oh, Thunder of Timur. Yes. Our hold in the sphere is not as magnanimous as we believed. Foes and traders come from everywhere. Central Asia has always been troublesome for us, and with the other great powers involving themselves in the region further, gaining another enemy is something we cannot afford. We must stop the conference by all means necessary, delaying until we have a proper solution. Bribe. Turkey has a lot of sympathetics, and High Nadspect has a lot of sympathetics. Neither of them are allowed to win. And delay as well. Good. Can I get more involvement, please? I could finish Dongola right now. Can't send volunteers in here or in here. No. Looks like Portugal's just gonna die. The ending of the Madagascar crisis. Oh, perfect. They stay with us. Ah, they're trying to take it. Alright, fine. I'll help. I was hoping we'd get more than just substantial. But I should have given everyone air support then. In like 500 days. An explosion will go off and that's considered a win for us. So we've pretty much won every single one of these conflicts. What's the benefits that we get actually out of that? Looking at it, we've only really had like one loss, and that's the West Indies crisis. Because I have no idea what to do with that one. This one, the Turkestan one, I remember losing as well. Anti-OFN protests. Oh no, again. I don't like the Iceland one either. Yeah, Iberia is done. Sadly, didn't help that we were not allowed to set any airplanes in. We'll work together with Italy, coordinating a series of military exercises to ensure the better response to this crisis can be provided. Yeah, well, it's too late to send volunteers everywhere because we've won every single one of them already. But I appreciate the help. Or the attempt to, at least. Delay the conference again. That's like 20% suspicion on us, right? There we go. That was 30, more like it. Keep pressing every single button we can. Oh, there's a tiny little Israel. Look at that. How cute. Everyone's supporting us. Nice. I mean, so far we've been running a great Japan game. A return to stability. To bring additional nations into our faction. Whoa! I'd love to. I want to expand. I like expanding my faction in TNO. It's very fun. Oh, we can even get the Saudis in. That would be nice. Shah's assassin. Oh, just in time we can now go after Iran as well. Tensions are high. I think tensions rising is a good thing, right? If you want to stop the conference permanently. Iranian, there we go. Iranian civil war. Unite the imams, send equipment, encourage religious fervor, commit forces, increase involvement. Yeah. Just press yeah, there we go. I literally pressed everything I could. Are they at war or is it just like it's the Islamic State that we need to support, right? Well, let's send them in. Even can send in air wings. I guess the nation's big enough for that. Oh, Central African Republic is finally dead. Damn, it took them long enough. That was going on for years. Our dudes have also arrived. Let's get our fighters in as well, eh? There we go. Green air. It's going to improve our shit even more. Additional rewards will be given if South Sudan civil war's over. It is over indeed. Now we've won hard. There we go. That should be it, right? The pact's gaining. Tensions at the max. We need more decisions. Oh, that's it. Good. The Islamic Republic of Iran has won. This civil war isn't over yet, though. Now I'm guessing it's going to be the Battle Royale part. If, you know, we get to that. The final war of reunification between the Russias is on the way. I don't think I'd like either one of them to win. Although Sablin hates us extra hard, so take that however you will. Delay the conference. Again, we need other decisions. The pact is almost there. Private officials, yeah. Thank you. Still not quite enough. Oil crisis will finally be removed. And then we can be stronger than ever, huh? Under our rule, Japan has reached for new heights. Though Ikeda took office in a tumultuous time, he has proven to all that the foundation of Japan are strong. With this dark chapter of our history behind us, we can finally start looking forward into a strong and prosperous Japanese empire. I like the sound of that. Let's speed up time. I think, oh, just as I was saying that, I was thinking like, oh, let's speed up time. Not much is going to go happen for a little while. Iran falls apart again. Unite the Imams again. We will help the Islamics, right? Only one air wing can be sent in. That kind of sucks, but oh well, we don't have much of a choice. Everyone's fighting everyone, right? Yes. Next day, our troops will also arrive. I'll go after the Shahdam right away. Actually, maybe one of you I will also send into Shiraz. Oh, the end. We've reached, well, I still want to make Iran join us. That's the end of our focus. Okay, the detonation will happen before the reunification of... That's perfect. We've won against our first enemy. This will unlock a new decision category for the Honolulu Accords. There's a political power pool that gains or loses political power depending on how much we invest. Both Japan and America will use that system. Whichever superpower invests more political power will gain all political power from the pool. Yeah, meet in Hawaii, please. There we go. The volunteer of the US will die. Propose to meet in Mexico as an alternative. Sure. And let's go to their capital. That should maybe be the end of them, right? They demand oil. I demand America. They are currently in the lead. What? Well, all right then, buddy. Whatever you say. Demand the greatest amount of oil possible. I feel like that doesn't make any sense, but I'll do it anyway. The complete six. Okay, what the fuck? Nobody's currently in the lead. We're all idiots. That's the verdict. Perhaps a trade agreement shall... Yeah, sure. That'll cost us 25 political power. That way we invest more. Insist on conditions. They're bluffing. How close are they to capitulating, actually? Which one am I supporting? Islamics. So this one. They're halfway dead. That's not great. I think I'm still in the lead. Oh, now they're currently in the lead? Huh? The ports will be demilitarized. Hawaii will not. Now we're back in the lead. I've got no idea how it works, but they said whoever invests more, it will win. That's what I'm doing. Fine, we'll accept the demilitarized Hawaii. Because I do want the agreement to finish. Oh no, riots break out in Guangdong? I've seen that one before when I played them. 3D ports return. So it's still ours, right? Yes. That's all that matters. One more proposition. Okay, what do they want? I'm very much curious what they want to offer me. Oh, there we go. That took us long enough. Jesus. All that's left is the final dude. Get in here. And now we can actually reinforce our guys. Slave revolt in Germany. Oh yeah, I remember Speer. I should play as the other. I think I've played as Bormann and Göring. I should play as Speer and... Well, Goebbels doesn't really exist, huh? Is that all that they had? They want Hawaii. No, call the bluff. Hawaii's mine. I mean, we're moving in. We're moving in hard. Take their capital as well. What? They took Hawaii? How does that work? I don't get it. Okay. I called their bluff and then they're like, no, that's not a bluff. I just give it away willingly. Ah, well. Doesn't matter. There we go. Victory in Iran too. All that's left is this motherfucker. But the pact has reached the... Oh, thank God. I think they're just below what they need. Will they join our faction? Yes, they will. What about Balochistan, though? Aren't you going to go after that? Apparently not. No, I want to see what happens with this explosion. Oh, yeah, and Russia. They've united. State of Eurasia, rather. Oh, there it is. Freies Europa. Oh, interesting. I do wonder if they're actually gonna go fight the Germans. Oberkommando St. Peter, when did that come from? Did they make like a big wall or something? What's this line? And China's still improving themselves, right? Or, they're doing their oil crisis as well. And in 100 days, we should get the explosion going. Oh yeah, everyone abandoned the Germans, huh? Schürner, he's in here? Okay. Yeah, the pact is like far above what they need, but they for some reason this doesn't finish. But the conference is done in 15 days. And at least, well, Wehrmacht mutiny crushed. Guangdong actually calmed down. They did what I failed to do. Regardless, let's see our final geopolitic finish up in our favor, hopefully. There we go, 0 days. Conclusion of the Turkish Khanis. Tragedy has stuck in Central Asia as following a series of assassination and strike on centralized authority within the region, the nation therein have almost completely collapsed in total anarchy, with refugees fleeing from the region into Kazakhstan or Iran. And just like that, the oil flows once more. Whoops. I was hoping they might have to join us or something, but and look at our economic zone. It's not bad, although some are part of our economic zone but not our faction, or the other way around. And I'm surprised. Usually I feel like the West African Union collapses. But not this time, not when I need them most. Regardless, that is pretty much it for this campaign. I think I did a great job. We're looking sexy out here, right? You gotta admit. With that, that is pretty much all the time I have left for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll see you next time. And hopefully, you have a nice day. Bye-bye.